put the children to bed. It's time for Dan and Aldo to bare their souls.
I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating, and that is a lot.
Then, with 3 seconds left, Bob Avellini throws a 30-something yard touchdown pass to Greg Latta, and the Bears win, and I literally shit my pants. I swear to God, I literally did.
Eric Kramer, for me, I love the guy. He's a tragic figure. I mean, he embodies all that is.
If they don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well. Not for a guy of his caliber.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
So, Dan, tape is the ultimate tool for scouts and for coaches to evaluate players, to detect plays and so forth. And they spend hours looking at tape, right? Why do they so often get shit wrong?
I love the efficiency of bourbon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan and Aldo.
Oh, yes. Dan Aguire, how are you, my friend?
I'm well. Somebody called me a raging liberal on Twitter, which made me happy.
What were you raging about?
I don't know. The context was like, you remember the post that you made about your friend from West Virginia came in, he got his second win. Yeah. Someone in the bottom of it, as I read some of it, was like, that raging liberal bastard is from West Virginia. So I took some pride in that for some reason. It was so good to get another win. Oh my God. I just can't tell you. Again, thank you, Ron. If you're listening, I don't know if you are, but the tickets, of course, originated from Ron, and I appreciate it. Great seats and a great win, a great time with Heidi. It was the whole weekend, man. I said it was one of the best weekends I've ever had. I said that about the Minnesota weekend. I'm not trying to be dramatic in January, and that was great too, but it felt like homecoming this weekend with everybody there. It's just a fucking great 48 hours, man.
That's right. Dan Aguire flew in on Saturday, flew back home on Monday. On Saturday, Dan and Heidi Zimmerman, who flew in from Mexico, and a number of other people. The Buffones were here, him and his brother, Sam, who has got a hell of a handshake. Wow.
He does, yeah.
And a bunch of people were here on Saturday and Sunday for the game, and a bunch of people showed up over at the house, and we had a lot of drinking and fun, and somebody peed on my lawn in the front of the house.
Oh, I'm so happy that was not me, because as I told you, I pondered for like a half a second because I was like, God, I gotta piss so badly. But I was telling Heidi, you have to get the ticket on your phone. Let me just shut up and let you.
No, don't. Just you could talk right over it. There's the culprit. I'm not going to name who it is.
Well, I was in your backyard, and we were sitting under the umbrella, and we had to go through a bunch of hula hoops because Heidi's phone, she's not from here, and I couldn't get it text to her, the ticket, but she had to get it downloaded, and then she's got an Android, and I was like, how do we get that? What's the equivalent of a wallet? And I thought, oh, God, I got to piss, but this is taking forever. But I was like, I can't piss in Aldo's yard. I'll just wait till she gets a ticket. But evidently someone
took an Austin Powers piss in my front lawn, and so my wife,
wow,
she arrives on Monday morning, and she says, did you see these videos? And I go, no, I didn't see these videos.
There's more than one video?
Yeah, there's I can see Heidi's reaction. She's kind of blushing because there was also interaction going on, and Heidi's face is like, ah.
Wait a minute. Your wife spoke to him on the doorbell cam?
No.
Oh, okay.
My volume is a bit too low, says Bruce Ollie Walter Jordan. So let me fix that. Can you hear me fine?
I hear you well, and I'm still stunned by the video. It's like urine gate. Everything has to have the gate on the end, right?
Yes.
Oh, we lost you. That's not good. I don't know if you can hear me, Aldo, but we've lost you.
I'm back.
There he comes. He's back. All right. I thought urine gate had taken out the camera and everything.
Yeah, my wife came down and smacked me over the head. So
will there be a cover-up for urine gate?
No, I'm not going to mention who it was, Bears Country Podcast. I'm not going to mention it at all.
Oh, you're not?
Absolutely not.
I love the little subtlety, like a Kevin Nealon.
What are you talking about? I didn't say anything.
Okay.
But the funny thing is that Chris Watts, who came over from London, he was with Mr. Shorty all week long, 10 days, 11 days, something like that. And tremendous time. They got drunk every night and so forth. And so on Saturday night, Chris continued, drinking like crazy. These guys were having drinking.
And that was not Chris peeing, by the way.
No, that was not. And so the next morning, he wakes up, and then my wife arrives. And so I wasn't going to tell her, that we all got fucked up at the house and so forth. But Chris, being a sweetheart, he starts sharing stories. And my wife is like looking at me. And Chris, with that delicious Cockney episode, I was rip rolling. I can't do it, Cockney accent, but I was rip rolling drunk and so forth. And my wife is like, "Oh, okay." And the house wasn't still 100% clean, so she's busy cleaning and so forth. And the more she's going from room to room, and she's throwing these glances at me like, "You motherfucker! I can't believe you allowed this to happen in my house."
Oh God! Did something really bad happen?
No, it was just the stories that he was sharing, and that everybody was rip roaring drunk and so forth. That was not her cup of tea. So, it's all fine.
Well, we all went to the party dispersed around 2,200 hours here. We're not talking about like the police had to break it up or something.
Not at all. Not at all. Everybody had, went home early to get ready for the game and stuff. And we started at 2, although some people arrived about 1:15. So I'm still in a frantic trying to get ready for the party. But we had a great fucking time. A lot of good laughs. It was great for so many barroom people and barflies to get together. And it really felt like a family gathering. So I appreciate everyone that was there, everyone that brought gifts, and everyone, it was just a great time. And when Heidi joins us in a little while, we would talk further about that. What I want to know from you, Dan, is what was that experience like in witnessing Tyson Bagent's first game at Soldier Field, first start, I should say, and first victory? What was that feeling like?
Honestly, when I was there, I mean, you could see that he was converting on third down. Mm-hmm. That was good. And he didn't make a mistake, but it felt like the Foreman show. Like, to me, it was like, man, like Foreman's running for touchdowns. He's catching a touchdown. We're running the ball really well. But there was one play specifically that I remember Bagent like getting out. He rolled to the right a whole lot, but he was completing passes on the run. And I kept thinking, well, if they're doing this for him, why don't they do that for Fields? But yeah. Okay, maybe he's doing it on his own. I don't know. And at one point he got out of pressure and even hit the fullback with a screen pass. I thought, for what he did, he didn't have to win the game. And he had command of the offense. I've seen some videos of the other players like Mercedes Lewis praising him, saying he looked just like he did in practice, and they were impressed by him. I think it was
I happen to have that. Let me play that right away so we can get that.
Like, for a rookie, that was really impressive. Like, ball out when it needed to be, third down conversions. So it was good.
He looked like how he did in practice.
Yeah,
so it doesn't surprise me. Like, that lets you know right there. You practice with intent. Just his attitude the whole week. It was good.
Absolutely.
He was engaged. And then, that means everybody else has to step up for him, and we did.
Yeah.
How nice is that? That's Mercedes Lewis and Colton at the 2 tight ends talking about Bagent. Very, very impressive.
The running game carried us. And I've been pounding my chest for Foreman the whole season. I was like, man, this guy's good. And I think he proved that finally this week. He was a little uneven against Minnesota, but he did really well. And Evans did well coming out of the backfield as well. But the running game is what, when I was there, that I was just like, man, we're really running the ball well today.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Bagent obviously looked good. But watching the TV broadcast this afternoon, I could see why some field supporters, I not consider myself a field supporter, don't get me wrong, but I'm at the point in my life where I don't care who's playing. I'm going to root for the Bears uniform.
Right.
I could see why somebody that loves Fields the way, say, I did Jay Cutler, where I was just like, no, I don't want Josh McCown to win. I want Jay to win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've grown up now. So, but I'm not saying they need to grow up. I'm saying, but if they're that impassioned about Justin Fields, I could see them thinking that the broadcast was pushing the Bagent narrative a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even when like Foreman's running the ball and jumping over people, and they're still like, oh, Tyson Bagent. So I get it. In that regard, it was pushed a little far on Fox, but the kid deserves some praise, I think.
Absolutely. It's a great, great story. There was not a Division II quarterback on any NFL roster last season. And that this is could turn out to be a kind of a Kurt Warner story. I'm not saying that it's going to be. He still has a lot to prove, but he has been impressive in the way he talks, in the way he comports himself. Listen to the players talking about him, and his performance was outstanding. He was told, get rid of the ball quickly, and he did. And that was reason for success. Now, should Justin Fields be playing under that style? A lot of people are saying that he shouldn't, that he is more prolific and that he can do more things with his legs and so forth. And so those are two different quarterbacks. And I think when we hear the media mashup, the very last clip is one of the sportscasters, radiocasters here in Chicago saying, all I want is more consistency out of Justin. And maybe we'll see that later this season, or maybe he has to go to a different team that can coach him better suited to his style that will deliver that. Bruce Ollie Walter Jordan wants to know, what kind of credit do you give the offensive line?
Well, again, I didn't see an all 22 or anything like that, but Heidi and I spoke about that at the game. It felt like, just from our vantage point, when anytime they were running right, I mean, Darnell Wright and Jenkins, it seemed like we're killing them, the Raiders. And it looked like, again, from watching the TV today, that Whitehair played well too, and I'm always on Whitehair. So thinking that if this was 2018, I would be like, man, Whitehair sucks. So I've never, ever liked Whitehair. But yeah, the line looked like it was, from all I could tell, the offensive line had a field day. And what, did Bagent get just sacked once?
One sack, correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, man, we couldn't have asked for a better output, especially when you're flipping players here and there again. And maybe we get Braxton back. And look, Larry Barroom has done okay. He's had some penalties on us and, here or there, but it's not like he's getting the quarterback killed. But I would still rather see Braxton Jones get a shot at this and see if he can solidify the spot.
Yeah. When it comes to the offensive line, we know that since Chris Morgan has arrived, they've been pretty good at run blocking. The team led the NFL in run blocking last year. And this year, Khalil Herbert has had some excellent runs. Rashawn Johnson has had some excellent runs. They've taken advantage of what the offensive line has done in terms of opening holes. Now, what the offensive line has not been consistently good at is protection for the quarterback. And so how do you confront that? You get rid of the ball quickly. You don't allow for the offensive lineman to make mistakes, because the ball is out in under 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds. And that's a big part of the success. And so the question is why isn't that same game plan in effect for Justin Fields? Is it because he wants to hold the ball longer and look for bigger plays like he had at Ohio State, lots of explosive plays? Well, he hasn't been doing that consistently well. And in his best game against the Washington Commanders, what worries me about that great performance is that he didn't distribute the ball to anyone else other than DJ Moore. And when you look at Tyson Bagent, 8 different players caught balls, 9 were targeted. And that's the kind of offense that you want, so that they don't focus solely on DJ Moore. So people are going to say, well, why did DJ Moore catch all those passes? Are you complaining about that? Are you complaining that he had 3 touchdowns? No, I'm not complaining about that. What I'm saying is that eventually other teams are going to adjust. And keep in mind that he was playing against a cornerback, a first-round draft pick, rookie cornerback, who was taken out, and then his replacement, Kendall Fuller, who's going to be an undrafted free agent next season, is a pretty good play. He still burned them. But we have to, ask ourselves, why isn't Justin getting more players involved? The definition of a franchise quarterback is that you elevate the play of everybody.
Again, I don't want, and I know you're not. So let me just preface that. I know you're not a Justin hater. It's starting to get like, you almost have to fear having any criticism of number one. And if you do, everyone looks at you like you're either stupid, you're not a real fan, you don't know what's going on like I do, or you're just a hater of Fields. And I know you're neither one of those things, but to add to what you're saying, one of the things that Bagent did well Sunday that I never see Fields do, and I'm not saying he's better than Fields, so goddamn, calm down. But I was very impressed with, I didn't even realize at the time, because you're at the game, you don't keep stats, so you're just excited to be there, And Buffon told me we were leaving the stadium because the Buffon brothers and Heidi and myself and Naslia, we ate dinner after the game. And John said, wow, what about number 2 having 8 or 9 catches for like 50 yards today? Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, he didn't go deep with him, but he was successful with him. When he needed DJ Moore, when he's rolling out, he was able to hit him for the 6, 7, 8 yard gain. And those are the passes it feels like Justin cannot make. I'm not saying he can't physically make it. I just meant in the course of the game, it feels like that those are the ones he struggles with consistently converting. I'm not saying his arm isn't strong enough to make it, because it is physically able, but those are the ones he struggles converting, in my opinion. So the fact that Bagent could hit, like you said, 7 or 8 different targets, your best receivers involved, even if it's not the deep ball, I don't think we ever get that kind of fluidity when Justin's in there. And regardless of what you think about Fields, and I like him and I root for him, I do, but they had lost 10 straight games at home on his watch, man. And it was great to see Bagent get a win. Mm-hmm. And the whole team got a win. It wasn't just Bagent. But like I said, I don't care who's playing at this point. It sounds like such a cliche, but we just need a win. Right. They hadn't won since September of 22 at home. The longest losing streak in the history of the franchise, and that's been finally exercised.
Coach T, immediately after the game, we have a show here on the network called Bear Football with Danny Shim and John Buffon and Coach T. I was filling in for John, and Coach T said it perfectly almost immediately when the show started. They played really good complementary football, and that means that the offensive and defensive line did their job, the running backs did their job, the receivers did their job, the quarterback did their job. So defensive backs, they turned over the ball. They led the turnover differential, something that we haven't seen all season. 3 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown. When have we seen that? And so, if Justin Fields gets that kind of support from the entire team, he could perhaps have had 500 yards passing. Who knows? Whatever. But it was maybe this team is starting to turn the corner and starting to get what Eberflus is coaching, or maybe they've made the changes, whatever is happening. That game against the Raiders on Sunday, not a very good team, but they had won 2 in a row coming into Soldier Field, one of them on the road against Green Bay. So it's encouraging. We should be celebrating the fact that we won 2 out of 3, and this quarterback battle that might be brewing, Bagent versus Justin Fields. I love it. Bring it on. I want 2 good quarterbacks on my team. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, can't you have 2 things true at the same time? Can't you like Justin Fields, but also praise Bagent for Sunday? Can't those two of those things, they don't have to be opposing viewpoints here. They're both Chicago Bears. But it seems like when I'm not smarter than anybody else. I'm not a bigger fan than anybody else. I'm not out here proclaiming that shit. But when I read Twitter at the airport Monday morning, I was sitting there for a few hours before my flight. I was like, some of these tweets, it felt like the Bears had lost.
Mm-hmm.
like just the negativity from the pro, like really, really dedicated Fields or Bust crowd. It's just like they were so upset that the Bajent won that, like, again, it seemed like they were thinking the Bears lost in their viewpoint, or they just weren't happy with the win. And again, I told you, I've been there with Cutler back in the day, so I get it. I guess we all work through our own shit, but I'm just happy, man. Even if Nathan Peterman started, it doesn't have to be because he's from West Virginia or undrafted, any of this. I just want to win.
Exactly. I mean, I agree 100% with that, but I also want a franchise quarterback. I want a quarterback that I can say, hey, for the next 10 years, number 1 or number 17 or number 80, I don't give a shit who it is. I want a franchise quarterback, a guy who is going to be mentioned as the player of the month, a guy who is going to have charisma, and a guy that's going to be mentioned positively by the national media, who's going to be compared to a Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or any of the other top quarterbacks in the NFL. I want that. Don't you want that, Dan?
That would be great. But along the way, the kid's made one start. He's made one start and likely to make a second on Sunday. So I want to enjoy the ride, what we have right now. And if Justin starts Sunday somehow, I don't think he is this week, but if he did, I'd be rooting for him the same. I want to beat Los Angeles. I can't call them San Diego. I want to beat the fucking Chargers, and however we do it, let's do it. I mean, it did feel like the game plan was more cohesive and made more sense, the stuff that was being called this week. And maybe that's not Justin's fault. Maybe Luke Getsy had a good Sunday afternoon as well, but it just felt like everything was in more rhythm, more succinct on Sunday.
Speaking of rhythm, there's a woman named Heidi Zimmerman who I'm going to bring in here, and she brings rhythm and soul and salsa and merengue, all of that stuff to whatever show she's on. There she is, shaking it for us. Heidi Zimmerman, how are you? Oh, unmute.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Oh, no, we lost her.
But she's coming right back. There you are.
Good.
There I am. What can I say? I'm ecstatic. I'm very happy about everything that happened, not only to me, but to Bears fans and Bears players, but to me. 4 days, everything was awesome. So I'm very excited. So you're not going to hear me say anything negative today.
Well, Heidi, I've got a question for you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Aldo.
No, I was just asking. You have no complaints whatsoever?
No.
Okay,
and I mean it.
Well, I've got a question for you, Heidi. Now, this is
you're
digging
tough.
deep into like conspiracy theories and unsolved mysteries. There's a word around the campfire. Now, look, I wasn't drunk and passed out. I had been up for 30 straight hours, literally. So I was like, 10 o'clock, I'm going to bed. I wake up the next morning, and there's this rumor that festered that maybe you and Chris Watts were in the bed together. So I just had to know, was there any mutual, what happened is what I'm trying to say. Did you all have, did he hit it? That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, this is what happened. I wasn't supposed to stay there, but I did. And he like a gentleman, he left the spare room, guest room for me. And so Aldo made his bed on the couch in the living room, and that was it. So I went upstairs to sleep. I was already tucked in bed. And then I heard someone coming in my room and getting in the bed. That was Chris. So I was like,
was he erect?
I have no idea. I don't want to know. So I was like, hey, Chris, this is not your bed. And you're like, oh. But I asked him politely, do you want me to go sleep in the couch? It's okay. I can sleep wherever. And he said, no. He got up very fast and went out. So I think that what happened is that he completely forgot, because his things were there. So I think he completely forgot that he was supposed to sleep in the couch. That is all. Dan, please behave.
Okay, I was just trying to see if Chris, even though you're not an American national, but we were hoping that he was going to get a lady in America. So I thought maybe he got a Mexican lady in America,
Well, no, he didn't. He has a new friend for sure. He has a new friend. That's all.
We'll take it.
And he's great.
Aldo's on
He's
mute
great.
now.
Yeah, now he's in mute.
There's some people in the chat who want to know if the two here. Stephen Me says, did Dan and Heidi hook up in Soldier Field? Did you guys go into concession stands or anything and have hanky panky?
No, but let me say this, for the first time ever, I got up at halftime because I was like, God, I gotta fucking piss. And sure enough, I didn't get back until 2 minutes before kickoff of the third quarter. That's why I don't get up and leave, but I had to piss that badly. But no, I have a girlfriend. Heidi and I did not have sex. I feel like Bill Clinton right now.
Did not have sex with that.
I just and Dan was so mad because he had to go up and go to the bathroom.
There was a line you just can't even imagine, but I was like, I've got to go. And I never do that. But like I said, I made it back before the kickoff. Thank God.
Yeah. But it took you a long time.
Exactly.
What did you have another one of those Austin Powers urination, Dan? Did you peed for 30 minutes?
No, but it just took, the line was so long. I couldn't get in there, just I guess it's halftime, duh, but I don't know, man. It was there a blue dress. We brought back the power of John Buffone's brother with the powerful handshake, had an Alshon Jeffrey jersey on, which I said was beige because it's 17. And then Heidi was wearing Brandon Marshall, and I was wearing Jay Cutler. We look like the 2013 Bears out there. And wouldn't you know it, we got the job done.
That's hilarious. By the way, Mr. Shorty just heard the story that he urinated in front of my yard, and we have it on video. And he says, sorry about the front bushes, although I couldn't make it back into the house. Hey, I've been there, brother.
Oh.
I've been there.
Tell Mrs. Gandia that, though.
I will indeed.
No, I meant Dan. Dan should have,
Oh, no. By the way, I want to get Heidi's impression about the actual game. You were there at Soldier Field. You witnessed the Tyson Bagent first NFL start. What was that experience like? What was it like seated beside Dan? Tell me everything you want to share.
There were so many things going on. Being that close to the field. Thank you, Dan and Ron, for those tickets. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity for me experience. It was great. I wanted to suck it up, everything, and take pictures and videos. But there was a time that I just put my phone away and I said, no, I have to watch this. I have to feel this. Being that close, the sound that they make when they run, when they hit each other, that was amazing for me. There were moments that we didn't know what was happening because we were on one of the end zones, so we couldn't see over there. But there's this huge screens. You can see you can watch the replays there. And to me, it was all perfect. It was smooth, consistent. There was a tiny moment when we both, Dan and me, felt concerned because of when the time management on the clock, and there were 3 timeouts, and everybody was yelling, take a timeout here, take a timeout. So we didn't know what Eberflus was doing, and I started like, oh my god, it's starting again. But it went well.
Hey, Heidi, one thing that we should mention to everybody, we don't have a picture to prove it. Heidi and I are walking to our seats. We had section 130. We're somewhere around 122, walking our way there. And wouldn't you know it, George McCaskey walks right past us, but he's got like a power walk, like he's about to go fire somebody. That's the look it was in his eyes. Like, and we said his name, or I said his name. I was like, George McCaskey, because he like walked right past us, and he looked right at us. Kind of gave us a wave and continued walking. He was too busy for us to try to ask him for a selfie.
Yeah, but
we did see George. That's true.
Yes, exactly. I was as excited as if we could gotten a picture with him. I don't care. I saw him in person from here to there. So that was great.
Yeah, he was like great. 2 feet away from us, to the left of us. And it was him. And he acknowledged us with a polite wave, but he continued He was really, really into something, clearly.
You know what was funny, Dan, is that you said Heidi and I were in section. And so I thought you were going to say it. Heidi and I were having sex. But it was section. SC.
Section. We were going to section 130.
I don't want to get in trouble with Dan's girlfriend. So please.
You're an innocent woman.
Yes.
One other cool thing, I was on the big board in the fourth quarter, like in the stadium. You know how they go to timeout sometime and get the crowd to do stupid shit like the twist or the cabbage patch or whatever? Like, I would never do that, like to try to get on the board. But this older guy beside me was like 55, 60, 65. Like, he looked way older than Heidi, so don't be sensitive about that, Heidi. This guy looked like he was like your grandfather. This gentleman was a little bit older. And he was like cabbage patching it up. And he goes, they'll never put me up on the big board or something. And I look at him and I'm like, you're on the motherfucker right now. And I point, like I'm talking to him and pointing up. And that's when they have me telling him to look up and pointing up at the board. So I made the Soldier Field big board.
How cool is that?
Also,
go ahead, Heidi.
It's such a pleasure to watch a game with Dan on your side. He's a walking encyclopedia. And he had this. It wasn't only once, but twice. But at the moment, he said, "You know what we need now? We need a pick six." And guess what happened the next play? A pick six.
That really happened.
Everybody around was, wow! You should make some more calls like that one. Yes. Everyone was at all like, wow, this guy knows.
How great is that?
Yeah, it was everything. Everything was perfect, and we got a win. I was excited to watch Bajent, maybe more excited that if it would have been Peterman, just because I know Peterman. I'm going to root for everybody that is playing, but we know Peterman it's a backup. He's a backup. Bajent also is a backup, but everything surrounding him is his history. His history is great, and he brought all his family to the game, and it was fun to watch. So, and also about Fields, I'm going to root for him as long as he's our quarterback. You can root for both of them. You can cheer for both of them without hating the other, because they both play for the Bears. Why not?
I agree with you 100%.
Absolutely. By the way, I want you guys to talk a little bit about Chris Swatts coming in from England. He and Mr. Shorty, as Cliff writes here, were down on the field holding the American flag before the start of every game during the national anthem. There's a 100-foot long or bigger American flag, and Chris and Mr. Shorty were both holding the flag. Did you guys see them? Did you notice them?
We looked. We looked. We both commented on that. Chris told me today, I presume he's in England back home now, that
yes.
he dropped down and kissed the turf. I love it.
Yes, he told me.
Yeah, he said he kissed the field, and I was like, oh, that's so great. But yeah, we looked for him and didn't see him. We looked for them at the tailgate, all that stuff, and couldn't find them that morning. I know the other Dan's going to say it's because I didn't ride the train or whatever the fuck.
I tried texting the other Dan, but I just couldn't. I just apologized today. Also, my phone was dying, so
I can verify that. That's true with Heidi's phone.
Yeah. Well, it must have been a great experience. It's something, I always felt when Dan and I went, and these were Mr. Shorty's friends' seats. When we saw Justin Fields versus the Miami Dolphins, I thought I was witnessing that momentous occasion where Justin Fields broke through and was now a superstar in the league, because he has such a phenomenal game, even though the Bears lost that game to the Dolphins. Unfortunately, he hasn't consistently played at anywhere near that level. I mean, not consistently, but maybe you guys witnessed something in Tyson Bagent. And I know people in the chat room are saying, pump the brakes. He's not Kurt Warner. But I'm just saying maybe, right, Heidi? Maybe Tyson Bagent can become a special quarterback for us.
Yeah, he has a lot to prove yet. We have this game on Sunday versus the third defense that puts pressure on the quarterback. So we'll see what he does there if he plays. And
Mhm.
I think, again, it's okay to root for him and to become great. Maybe not now, maybe later, but how many teams to get to have two good quarterbacks? The problem with Fields, I think, is that he's trying to be so good that he thinks too much every time. He thinks too much, and the momentum goes. And he look at Bajan. He has nothing to lose, and he's throwing the ball so quickly. That was refreshing to watch. Very refreshing. I'm
What do you
not
think,
saying
Dan?
that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I don't know. It's gonna be a second start. I don't want to say, because like, I don't know if you put in the piece what we were talking before we went on air about Dan Bernstein. Like, just pump the brakes. He's not Drew Brees, because Bernstein's voice gets so whiny. No one's saying that he's Drew Brees or Kurt Warner or Tom Brady or whatever. But you don't want to say, well, for a fact he's not going to be any good. We don't know that. Let's just take it one game at a time and see what he can do. He did well enough on Sunday, and had he not gotten strip sacked against Minnesota, chances are maybe he doesn't throw that pick later either. So he did okay against Minnesota. He did very well against Las Vegas. So let's see if he can beat the Chargers. Just also, enjoy what we got, one game at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy what happened. Also, I think the playbook was a lot easier for him. It was, I don't know if it was made for him, but it looked easy. Check downs, short passes, moving the chains, boop, 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 boop. And I don't know if that's a problem, a coaching problem, or a Fields problem, that he wants to make big plays every time. I don't know, but that's what it looked to me, that everything went smoothly because it was easy going.
And we didn't start the game in a shotgun without a running back behind him either.
That's right.
God,
Certainly,
it's like the calls sometimes are bad too.
Certainly, there was a dedication to the run game. They were intent on getting Deontay Foreman as many rushes as possible, and I think that was a big part of it. This offensive line can run block, and that's huge and any quarterback will tell you it's easier for me to pass the ball if I'm being asked to hand the ball to a lot of times, and then concentrate on the short passing game. The coaches told them, look at the first short option as often as you can. Get rid of the ball quickly. That's the game plan. Get rid of the ball quickly. And sometimes those guys weren't open, and he'd have to look a little deeper. He completed a nice pass to Tyler Scott over the middle on a third down play that was about, I don't want to say maybe 12 yards downfield. It was a beautiful play, and that was his first, second, maybe third or fourth read. It was gorgeous.
If you can give me 1 second, Aldo, the Mark Levin guy set the alarm off again. I'll be right back.
He blaming it on a conservative. Heidi, did you get to see much of the city of Chicago?
Maybe not as much as I would have liked to, because 4 days is not enough. But I did. Right. I did. It was raining on Thursday, so I did this small walk around my hotel and went back to the hotel and went downstairs to have dinner and drinks. But Saturday I walked for, I don't know, many miles. I walked all day until I met Nasle at this pub. It's called the Red Lion. And then we met Antonio Contreras and another friend of mine. His name is Derek. We had such a great time. And on Saturday, I went for a walk. I wanted to have Portillo's hot dogs. But when I got there, I wasn't that hungry, and the place was packed. So I said, no, I'm not going to do that line. And that's when I decided I should go to Aldo's right now. So I took a lift and went home. Yeah, that's what I did. And we had
some Lou Malnati's pizzas for you. So I hope you enjoyed that.
They were delicious.
Yeah. And then the chicken wings were delicious.
Yeah, Malnati's doesn't get enough credit for their chicken wings. They're really good.
They were delicious. I don't know how many I had, but I had many. And on Sunday, we walked for how many? 6 miles, Dan?
Yeah, I think it's just because the way we left Soldier Field, it was opposite of the way to get back to her hotel.
Yeah, we walked forever.
Yeah. And so we went and ate dinner, and it was well worth it. It was fun hanging out with both of the Buffons. And like I said, Naslia joined us later. It was just a really good day. And if I could sub-reference real quickly too, going back to Saturday, it was really fun. Cliff and the guy that looked like Jeb Bush, I thought that was really fun talking to them. And the gentleman that I met earlier in the day, I thought I was talking to the guy that Phil and Shane were making fun of. It was saying pancake, but it was another guy named Nick. I thought I was talking to the what's his name, Swanky?
Yes, Swanky.
I thought that's who he was, because remember when we had Swanky on, I'm pretty sure he was saying that he was friends with Josh Blackwell and went out to dinner with him. And then I met the other guy and he was talking about Josh Blackwell. I thought, oh, this must be that gentleman, but it wasn't. They said it was a guy named Nick, and I had a lot of fun talking to him. And Will was fucking great, man. Will, I don't know if he's listening or with us right now, but the cool thing about Will, I could reference I remember 1992 week 11, and that motherfucker knows it. So I enjoyed being able to reference old shit and not someone saying who can remember stuff like that, Dan? Like Will can. So I had such a good time talking with him.
Yeah. I want you guys to both react to what Steve Mee is written here. He's saying that he's finding it hard to listen to this tonight. All good vibes, but our team is trash. And a win versus a shitty Brian Hoyer, Josh McDaniels Raiders team ain't changing the fact that we are the NFL's doormat. What do you think about what Steve just said there? I'll start with you, Heidi.
I respect what Steve says. Just my point is so different because I don't get to watch many games live. I went all the way from Acapulco. I was going to be there happy as can be, even with a loss, because I love my team. Maybe that's kind of corny. Now it is corny, but all in all, it was a good game, and it was a win. And everybody says a win is a win. That's all I have today, this moment, this game. And I loved everything about it. But I do respect people. There are so many points of view. He may be right because we only won 2 games. We've lost horribly to many other teams. But for this particular game, I loved everything. So that's my point. And I respect his.
So much to be happy about. Jalen Johnson had 1 interception in his entire career. Guy's trying to get paid. I guess the Bears need to evaluate if they want to re-sign him. He has 2 picks in 1 game, including, God bless you, a pick 6. And how about Cairo nailing 54-yard field goal? He had an extra point blocked Sunday, which was not his fault. But it seems like he's all the way back from all the struggles he had last year. So the kicking game looks pretty good. Now, our punter had like an 8-yard punt, but beyond that, Santos making field goals. If for some reason you're in a game, you're starting to think, okay, he can hit it now. We've got a cornerback that maybe we can re-sign and be confident in. We got a backup quarterback who can win a game. We've got a running back, the 3rd running back, who I think is better than the first 2 and doesn't get any credit for that. But either way, he was running well. The 4th running back was running well. So, you're running the ball, you're creating turnovers, like you said earlier, 3 interceptions, your kicking game's improving, the offensive line's doing well, the backup quarterback's doing well. Your number 1 receiver didn't have 200 yards receiving, but he still had 8 or 9 catches. I don't know, man. I'm happy. Especially like Heidi said, maybe it's because we don't get to go to the games all the time, but, you want to win, right? We all of us watch these games. And to a certain extent, it's our livelihood, at least a big portion of our life. I know a lot of you have kids and things like that, but it's still a big portion of our lives. So why are we mad about winning, man?
Yeah, and I want to add to that. The score was 30-12. This was not a close game. We beat a shitty team the way you should beat shitty teams. We dominated.
They scored that touchdown late. They scored that touchdown late. It was 30-6 late.
Exactly. So, it's not like we eked out a win against a terrible team. We dominated that team, and we dominated with an undrafted free agent acquisition who never played college football at a big-time school or against big-time competition. That says a lot. And, Steve, we've won 2 out of 3. That's a reason to be happy. If we continue to win 2 out of 3 the rest of the way, we're going to end up with a fucking good record this season. So,
and don't forget that Jordan Love got picked in Denver to lose the game.
Mm-hmm.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, baby.
Indeed. All right, we got the media mashup now. It is a little longer than normal. It's close to about 27 minutes. And then on the other side, Heidi, Dan, and I, and all your comments in the chat, I will be flashing them up during the media mashup. We'll talk about what sticks out from the local Chicago media's evaluation of the game, and Tyson Badgett, the coaching staff, and so forth. And then at about 9:30 Central, John Santucci will join us to talk about the Bears' state of affairs. So without further ado, let's hit the mashup. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Everybody wants to know what is going to happen next week. Okay, today was great. We beat a rather poor football team, but we did it by, executing the offense the way the offense should be executed. It was all about checkdowns and making first downs and just getting the ball out, never having those catastrophe plays.
Due to number 17.
Yep. Yeah, at some point you got to think that tonight up at Hallis Hall they're going to be burning the midnight oil, saying, if Justin Fields comes back on Wednesday and says, yeah, my thumb's great, I want to get back in there. What do you do, OB?
Well, guess what? Tell him you're the backup. Let's let him get a dose of reality. Dan, he's been here 3 years. 3 years, and we struggle to win a game, a single game with this kid at quarterback. Again, I will go back and I'll say it again, folks. When we drafted him, I said it was a mistake. His first year after the season, trade him so you can get something for him. Second year, trade him. Get rid of him. He can't play. He's not a quarterback in the NFL. See what you can get for him. And the start of this year, I said trade him. See what you can get for him. And I told you a million times, this kid can't read defenses, and he's not an accurate thrower. What did you see today for 4 quarters from a rookie quarterback from a Division II school? Did he look like he had command? Did you see his passes? Spot on. Did he throw any wood in the ducks? No. How did he handle the run game? How did he handle the play calling? How did he handle the fake handoffs? The kid played one hell of a game, and you want to know why we won today? We won today because of Badgett. That's why we won today. We didn't have him. Who knows if we'd have won this football game. But that's the main reason why we won this game, Dan. I don't know if you agree with me. We haven't even talked because of the aggravation of waiting to get on the air so long. But I'm telling you, that's the reason why we won this game. This other kid, he's a nice kid. He's wonderful, whatever have you. But I'll tell you what, folks, it's bye-bye birdie with him.
At some point, you've got to just, look at the facts. The offense, he was in total control. He knew exactly where he wanted to go with the ball.
Yes, he did.
He made 0 mistakes. And even though his numbers were modest, they're 21 of 29, 1 touchdown, 162 yards. You look at that box score and you say, well, this kid didn't really do much. But let me tell you what he did. He avoided the catastrophe play, and he won a football game in Soldier Field. We haven't seen that from Justin Fields in over a year. So however you want to cut it, right now, Tyson Badgett should be the starting quarterback.
Well, Danny, guess what Badgett did? In 4 quarters, he converted 8 out of 13. And we were in the red zone 3 times, and he got over the goal line all 3 times. That's 1,000%, and he completed 8 of 13. Third down conversions. That means you're eating up the clock, you're moving down the field, and you're scoring points. This kid did it.
What I really do like about Badgett is, number one, he's a great interviewer. Yeah,
he's a great interviewer.
Awesome.
You know, I mean, he's very original. You know, he's very original and authentic in how he answers things. He's got a ton of confidence, and so and I really love him saying that he has a cannon for an arm.
Right.
You know,
that was awesome.
It's great. It's great. You know, but the thing is I really want to see how he responds to those type of situations.
All right, answer me this: the trade deadline's 8 days away. 8 days.
Yeah. Okay.
If your phone rang and you're Ryan Poles, and it's the Atlanta Falcons, I'll give you a second-round pick. I want Fields right now because you're going to take someone with Carolina's pick. This is the most you're going to get. I want him right now. I'll get him healthy. I'll put him into our offense. Would you do that?
Nope. You're going to have to give me some more.
More than a second-round pick?
You're going to have to give me some more.
I'll give you a second and a fifth.
A second and a fifth? Nope.
Second and a fourth?
Nope.
What do you think you're getting?
I just let you know. This is what you listen. You want him. You want him. You called me. Remember, you called me. You said you want him. So tell me how bad you want him.
Wow. Would you trade him?
For the right price.
What is the right price?
It's not a second round. You're going to have to give me a first rounder. Give me a first rounder.
No chance.
Second round and a year's supply of free appearances at the Cheetah. What you think in Atlanta?
Well, that's hard to pass up now. You got good food there.
The chicken wings are terrific at the
Magic
Cheetah.
City, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Magic City, yeah.
I think I'm in. I think I'd do that. Well, I know you would.
Well, listen, the city would be pretty upset if I did that, if I made that deal right there, okay?
Your stomach would be happy with the wings at Magic City.
Oh, well, my eyes would be happy too, you know what I mean? All around. That would be a very selfish decision.
What happens if he goes out, Bajent, Sunday Night Football, Justin can't go, and Bajent throws 3 touchdowns and they beat the Chargers?
I would be ecstatic about our Bears, about Tyson, about our future, about whatever happens.
Okay,
you know
who
what I mean?
plays the next week if Justin says I'm healthy?
Justin still plays, but there's just a very short leash.
There are a lot of
You
ifs
know
out
what you
there.
have now. You know what you have. You know what you have in the backup. You have an opportunity. You have a guy who made the most of his opportunity. So if you slip up on this opportunity, we put him in and give him the longer opportunity, the real opportunity.
A lot of ifs. And then Lance, he hit you with a lot of ifs this morning.
Oh, a lot of ifs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys,
ifs.
a lot.
Yeah. I mean, these are scenarios that could happen, though. That's why we bring it up. But there's a lot of ifs.
If was a person, it'd be Cap.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
We call those capatheticals.
There. I like that.
Everything has been, what can you do and can we give you more? So the theory is they're going to give him more this week. Now, I don't think that that's what's going to happen, but that's the logic train.
Good. Let's roll on. I just wish it were understood better that when I say that Bajent looks tough and smart and may develop into a solid NFL backup, that's a huge compliment. That's not an insult. That's a huge compliment. He could be a gazillionaire
He's
doing that.
He's already made himself money from yesterday's performance to be a Division II dude, and that's what I was hoping for. Last week, I said it with Layla on Thursday. What I wanted for Tyson Bajent. I don't care about where things stand with the Bears quarterback situation. That's eventually going to figure itself out. Whether it's Justin Fields or who they draft or a battle between the two, it's going to figure itself out. I don't think it's going to be Bajent. What I want for Bajent is, look, man, you played D2. You seem to do all right at the Senior Bowl. People that aren't the Bears are like, yeah, that guy could probably be in the league for a while. Go out there and make yourself some money. And he did that yesterday. Even if he fails next week against the Chargers, he's got tape of, I can be coached and I can do what you tell me to do. And if you have a solid running game and you need someone to get you out of a game because the starter's hurt, or you need someone to help show you what it looks like in practice, I can do all of that stuff.
It would be an incredible story if he becomes a career NFLer. If he lasts 5-6 years, 3-4 years, like that's a huge story. And anything more than that,
you can't tell me that guy can't do what the guy he was playing against.
Oh God.
Brian Hoyer has been a quarterback for 15 years in this league and has made millions of dollars.
That's as bad as I've seen. That Brian Hoyer is
done.
Absolute
done.
Boiled ass on a stick.
I don't think that tastes good.
Exactly. That is, he was so bad. And the Bears defense played well. The Bears defense did what it's supposed to do against bad quarterbacking. So they won a game at home.
Yeah.
First time in 392 days, I believe, since they won a home game.
Yep. And that's all it has to be for now. And let's see what happens next.
And I talked to Cole Kmet a little bit about it, and I said, well, you guys can build off of that moving forward. Like some of these quick outs can turn into out and ups. And Cole said there were a few downfield things, and specifically there was one to him where he was wide open, but pressure had kind of led Tyson to have to dump the ball off in the opposite direction sooner. And he said, but, as Cole told me, he's like, that quick game is difficult to defend, right? And there will be ways for teams to go at it. I doubt it's going to be breezy at SoFi Stadium next Sunday night as it was yesterday on the lakefront. Listen, the guy doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, but there's plenty of quarterbacks that have had a lot of success in the league, and the first thing you say about them isn't their arm strength, right? How do you account for a lack of arm strength if you don't have, a howitzer? It's anticipation, right? That's number one, and it's accuracy. And he showed that he could certainly anticipate yesterday, I think, and he proved to be pretty accurate. Again, this is a super small sample size.
Brad, you wrote in your 10 thoughts about the 3 game balls that were given out, and I'm wondering. We asked the question this morning: if you could only give one, who would get it? And I just thought the running back had an incredible game, and he is representative of the offensive line in a way. But anyway, I don't know who you would give the 1 game ball to if you were limited to that number.
Yeah, boy, if I only had one, to me, it probably has to go to the quarterback. I mean, undrafted.
Yep.
From D2. This is still early in the season. It's not like he spent the entire year on the bench, but Foreman ran really well. He had 89 yards, and it looked like he was just a couple moves away from having about 125 yards, right? How many of those carries yesterday, 16 of them, did it appear like, man, that instead of that being 8, that was about to be 28. I'd say there were 4 or 5 of them anyway. So he ran real hard. Talking to guys in the locker room after the game, they had a sense in the first quarter that it was going to be a really good day for them in the trenches. They just felt like they had the Raiders beaten right away. And Josh McDaniels said, he felt that the whole thing kind of slide in the second quarter. So the Bears players felt it but before McDaniels acknowledged it. But, McDaniels said they lost up front, and then they're trying to play the game backwards, and that's why this thing turned into a blowout.
How do you explain the Bears being the second worst defense against the run last year and now the 5th best, and only giving up 44 points in the last 3 games? What is different about this defense?
Well, the linebackers are new, right? And they've played relatively well. They have. This is a softer part of the schedule. I think we've got to acknowledge that. Like you take a look at who they've played, and you should do okay against those teams. I mean, they played a Vikings team.
Good feeling, and it was a hell of a game. And you can't say anything bad about Tyson Bagent's performance. He did not give the ball away. He was very efficient. They held the ball the whole bloody game. and they scored 30 points.
Yeah, we all understand what we saw, right? We saw a backup quarterback lead his team to victory, and you got to go through his story and say, look, he came from Shepherd College. No one thought he would make a roster. He makes the roster. The Bears elevate him. Obviously, Getsy loves this kid, right? Coached him in the Senior Bowl, convinced the Bears to sign him, and then they elevate him by watching him in practice. And we all wondered immediately, how the hell do you elevate a guy at practice? How does he beat out Peterman? Why does he become the backup quarterback? He takes another step yesterday and shows you why. Just by being efficient, by getting the ball out on third down, looking like he belongs. Credit to Bagent for looking like you belong. I'm sure his goal is to eventually become a starting quarterback in the NFL. He took one more step yesterday, leading his team to victory. One thing I thought was really good when Sanchez pointed out, Deontay Foreman on the first third down drops the pass, right? The first third down of the game for the offense. Coach Flus takes the ball. They get into a third down situation. He checks it down. Bagent immediately runs up to him, taps him on the helmet, tells him, don't worry about it. We'll get it on the next drive. And they sure did. The next drive to take it down the field and score. So we saw a young quarterback take a step, and we saw a defense, a secondary, continue to look like they could be elite, that they play man defense and match up against guys who have pretty big names in the NFL.
Olin, what was the most impressive thing that Tyson Bagent did in your mind, and how sustainable is it?
David, it's a great question, because when I turn the film back on, as you guys know, I like to watch film. I'm always looking for what I tag football plays that guys make that actually are in the scheme, that can be very repeatable, and that they can do it in this level at a high level. It's not a fluke is what I'm trying to say. He made a lot of those yesterday, if I'm being honest with you, where he went through his reads, and there are third downs and hit Tyler Scott over the middle. I think Tyler Scott might have been his fourth or fifth read on that play, flicks it out really fast. There were times, I think it was after a holding call on Barroom. It was I think right at the end of the half, and it was 1st and 20, and the Raiders blitz him, and the Raiders didn't do anything real extravagant yesterday. I didn't think their defense coordinator had a great day, but that's for another time. The blitz is coming. The right side offensive line actually gets beat. They get beat there, but he flicks it out there. And again, completes, I think, a ball to Mooney, throws it low where only Mooney can catch it, beats the blitz, saves his offensive line from getting beat, from getting a sack. Few times in that game, you can argue that he should have got hit, that he should have got sacked. He got the ball out. To me, that was the most impressive thing, keeping that offense on track, keeping them ahead of the sticks. Things I thought when I watched it, wow, this guy could actually do that week in and week out.
Why was Tyson Bagent able to have success?
I think playing within yourself is a skill. I think game management is a skill. I think that the Bears, emphasized the right things with him in the preparation leading up to the game, and Tyson took those emphases and executed them well. The touchdown pass to Deontay Foreman is a play where after the game, he admits there may have been an opportunity to hit the corner route there to Darnell Mooney, but the emphasis all week in practice was get the ball out. He saw Deontay Foreman in the flat on what was a snag concept on that play, and just said, look, I can get this ball out here for a completion. The way he's playing today, he's got an opportunity to make a guy miss or break a tackle or do both and get in the end zone. So let's not make this harder on ourselves than we need to. That's one example in a game video full of examples where the quarterback didn't try to do too much and distributed the ball, and his playmakers made things pay or made it pay off with the way they handled things.
Okay, so let's go back all the way to the Senior Bowl. What were the things that Luke Getsy saw in Tyson Bagent that made him one of his advocates?
One of the things that Luke said last week that I thought was really notable, because it was married up with what Tyson has told us 3 or 4 times since August, is that he derives his confidence from the intensity and the focus of his preparation. And that, he mentioned it again last week that look, I don't feel good until I have an entire game plan in my brain, absorbed and truly in a flow state of knowing what this is and what we're trying to do with things. Luke says last week that, in the early parts of the week in Mobile, that he felt like Tyson was kind of a nervous kid. And then Tuesday turned into Wednesday, turned into Thursday. And as he saw him get more comfortable with what was being asked of him, all of a sudden that natural and infectious confidence came out of him, and it just creates you can feel it right now, Lawrence, even in the locker room after the game yesterday, just the kind of belief it creates in people around you when you have that, when there's that vibe of like, I know everything I'm doing, I know what you're supposed to do, and we're going to do this in sync in a way that creates success. And that was certainly present yesterday.
That's the story. The defense showed up, and the defense looked halfway decent. They looked competent. They forced some turnovers. First on a deflection, 49. Hey,
Johnny on the spot. Quick react.
Edmonds was in. He was here.
Quick react.
Edmonds
baby.
showed up to play.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Good for him. Jalen Johnson in his 4-year career got interceptions number 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And now
he doubled his total. Right?
Yeah.
Well, yesterday he had doubled his total.
He
from
doubled
what he
from
had
1 to 2. Now he tripled it.
Yeah,
he went from 1
it.
to 3.
I meant like yesterday he had twice as many as he ever had in a single game.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. They're pretty good.
I mean,
thank God.
When he had his first one, he returned it for a touchdown. That was more than he had in year 2.
Right.
In year 3.
Is he getting fined for those orange sleeves?
You would guess he would, because everybody's got the one color. They all agree on what the one color is. Tony Medlin puts it out.
Right.
And, okay, if you need a long-sleeve shirt, this is the color of the shirt. I presume it was a white long-sleeve shirt if you're going to wear it. His orange stuff was out. I am sure he was notified before the game. He didn't care.
He went oppo.
I am sure they told him he was going to be fined. He didn't care. So this fine this week may not be a hefty fine. If he does it again, that next fine will be the hefty one.
The story this week is going to be the health of Justin Fields. And will he or won't he be able to play? If Justin's healthy, he's playing Sunday night. Let's face it.
The Bears have a little bit of a luxury now of making sure that he comes back 100% healthy and he doesn't come back at 80%.
What do you think Justin wants?
What do I think Justin wants?
Does he press to get back quicker?
I would hope, that he wants to play, but that's what the medical staff is for. The medical staff is there to protect the player from himself. And it'll be apparent on whether he can grip a football or not. You won't have to guess. Either he will or he won't. And if he does and it starts to bother him, that means he's not ready. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So they're going to try him. They're going to try him out. Hey, let's come out here. How does it feel? How does it grip in the ball? You'll know right away. He'll know right away that either I can do it or I can't do it. And I got to give him more time.
I'm going to text Todd Furman, and find out how odds makers are handling this and what's baked into the line of Bears, at open, about a 9-point dog. Look, the Bears will be the home team on Sunday. We say this all the time whenever LA is hosting a game, whether it be the Rams or the Chargers. It's even worse for the Chargers. And what did we say last week about the Steeler game? That was 85% Steeler fans in that building.
Yes. The worst NFL fans in the history of the world are in Los Angeles.
And it's worse for the Chargers.
I know.
The Rams have a little bit of a fan base out there.
Of a lineage.
A little bit, right.
Yeah.
It's even worse for the Chargers. The Bears will quite clearly be the home team Sunday night against the Chargers. Like the Chargers in their building, you will often see have to go silent count. I mean, it's that bad, and it sucks for them, but it is what it is. I do wonder how.
I don't think Justin needs a fire lit under his butt.
I thought the same thing.
Justin plays his ass off with the intensity of with as much intensity as anybody. It's not about want. It's not about any of that other stuff.
Justin cares. Justin works so hard.
Yes.
Justin tries. He's a good leader.
With Justin, it's about being
process.
Well, and it's about being better more consistently, being good consistently, not a pop-up game here and a pop-up game there. He has to be, as a franchise caliber quarterback, if that's who he's going to be, you can't have a good game here and 3 bad games here, a good game here and 2 bad games there. You have to be consistently better than he has been to help raise the level of play of the guys around you. Fair or unfair, that's the nature of the position.
Right. And to me, it reminds me again, whatever Bagent is, it reminds me of the Cutler McCown thing. And a lot of people, I never wanted to replace McCown because he was hot. And I never want to take a guy out who went for 13 touchdowns and 1 interception. But what it started off to me going back there in that 2013 season was I always said to myself, and it was a very unpopular position back in the day, but I always thought it was the right one, it was a good test case on why does this journeyman guy make it? Why is he doing those things and making it look right, but the $150 million guy doesn't? Why doesn't he play with consistency? Why doesn't he get on the 13 touchdown, 1 interception heater that the journeyman does? Why doesn't he ever look like that? And that's what it was always like to me. So when Bajan can go from 1 to 2 to 3 as a rookie Division II guy, why can't Justin do that in year 3? Why can't he get 8 guys involved? Darnell Mooney was involved again. Yeah. Why isn't Darnell Mooney involved? Like, why is it when every time it's not, it's Getsy's fault? So that's where I am with Justin. All I want, Justin is the superior arm talent, the superior athlete. He's a stronger, faster guy. I want him to just be better. That's it.
It's interesting. Did you see that neither tight end caught a pass yesterday? They completed passes to 8 different guys. Just thought it was odd that neither weird, Cole Kmet and what's his name, Tunyon, did not have a catch.
Yeah, I know.
But they did work the middle of the field yesterday. Like I said, I love the good slant route. Love a good slant route. And
Kmet had a streak going, too. I think it broke a streak for him.
I think so. But I think I saw at least 3 slants that were thrown. Like, you have to work the middle of the field to keep a defense honest. And I saw them run multiple slant routes, and it made me happy.
It's most important for the Bears going forward. Is it protecting the draft pick or seeing growth in winning games? Now, listen, I've told you last week that I don't sit there in the hood cave hoping the Bears can lose. I've never felt that way. Boy, I hope they lose today. Get myself a nice daddy soda, get myself my favorite food to be able to watch the Bears and say, well, I hope they lose today, because that's not in me as a Bears fan. I understand from a business standpoint why teams tank. I just hate it for my hometown. I hate it for this big city of shoulders for this team to lose on purpose. I know there's a greater good for that, but doesn't necessarily mean it's automatic that you win a championship. But then it's about protecting the draft pick. I think that the Bears are going to ultimately have the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah, with courtesy of Carolina.
Sure, that's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, but courtesy of Carolina.
But Cap, draft picks, free agency, we could talk about all the possibilities for the Bears. Until it happens, you're still just the same old Bears. You are. You're trying to be not the same old Bears. You're trying to be able to break through and just not just be the same old, same old. Look what we've done with these draft picks, and look what we've done in free agency. Okay, so where's the wins? Where's the championships? Mm-hmm. Where are the playoff appearances on a perennial basis? That's what I'm talking about. So when we talk about protecting the draft pick, the Bears will have their number 1 pick. Now, again, who will they draft? And how can they be able to cultivate that draft pick? I mean, we could talk about this all day. Marvin Harrison, what if it's one of the quarterbacks? Who's going to coach him? Who's going to coach him? We like the names that we see, the Drake Mays, right? Mm-hmm. We see these names. But who's going to coach him? How do you know that they're going to be great talents on the Chicago Bears?
Correct.
I can tell you that they could be great talent on good teams, perennial playoff teams, your Eagles, your Kansas Cities, teams like that. But what about the Bears? Who's coaching these new players?
Right. If you bring in, pick the guy, Caleb Williams,
Sure.
Drake May, whoever it is, J.J. McCarthy. You bring him in and say, that's our new face of the team. Who's in charge of the development? Like in Kansas City, they went, and we got Andy Reid. We got Eric Bieniemy. We got Matt Nagy. Like, compare that to Luke Getsy, Andrew Janocko, and Eberflus. No shot at those guys, but that ain't Andy Reid.
Right. And this is not Charlotte. This is not Phoenix. That's where you start off and you learn how to be able to be a coach, not a major city like Chicago. Mm-hmm. Come on, man.
All right, lots of good stuff there to react to. Dan Aguire, I'll start with you. What really stuck out among all those clips?
Oh, I think Sylvie, because I do remember him. They used to have this bit where he was supposedly stalking Josh McCown, and they made a song out of it where he was like at his house and, you know, just lusting after him, like for homosexual activity. And he really did want McCown to be the quarterback. I was glad to hear, because I listened to their show a lot 10 years ago. So I'm glad he was honest about that. But I thought that it's a fair comparison, because again, I loved Cutler, I love Fields, but in the backup in both situations, at least for one day with Bajent and for a couple with McCown, it felt like the offense seemed to have more fluidity with them in there, and you want the guy that's the guy to do the same thing, and it's somewhat maddening when they can't do it, but the less talented guy can. I thought that was the biggest thing that stuck out to me. In terms of the other thing, it's kind of like what we'd already been talking about. Like some people were saying Bajent's the guy now, and then some people are like never Bajent. I don't know. What about you?
Well, let me get to Heidi first. Heidi, out of all those clips, any one particular one stick out to you that you want to comment on?
Well, I don't know most of these guys because I don't listen to radio.
Sure.
But what stood out to me, I didn't like this guy Obi about Fields being a backup. I'm stubborn. I don't think he's a backup. I think he still has something in his sleeve. Okay, I like Colin Cruz talking about Bajent. He clearly likes him, and Carmen and Yurko. They have. This is interesting. Is Fields under the radar, and will he play even if he's not 100% healthy? I wonder. That's what stood out to me mostly.
Yeah, I personally think that right now, Justin Fields himself should feel that he should get 100% healthy because he's playing now for a new contract. He's playing to show 31 other teams and the Chicago Bears organization that he can be a franchise quarterback. Why should he get back out in the field if his hand is not 100% and he cannot throw effectively, particularly since the backup quarterback and the coaching staff has had a little bit of success here. So the fact that they did not put Justin Fields on the injured reserve list, meaning that he can come back earlier than 4 games, that is a good sign that he probably will play the week after the Chargers game and that he will be 100% or close to it. If not, then after that. So I'm impressed. The biggest thing that stood out to me is, this hesitancy. And really, I was studying the chat room comments during all of those clips. And the people who are hesitant about Bajent, I can certainly understand that. But to me, he passes the eye test. I think that this guy is better than a backup quarterback. Like Olin Cruz said, I think that or Lance Briggs said, I think that this guy wants to be a starting quarterback. I think he's got the mental makeup to be a starting quarterback. I think he's got the physical skills to be a starting quarterback. He talked about having played some 700 games or made 7,000 passes of getting rid of the ball quick. This guy has come in almost NFL ready. And he certainly looks NFL ready. And for the people who are saying he only threw for 162 yards, well, what about the drop passes on the 3rd and 5? What about DJ Moore not catching the touchdown? What about the game plan? I mean, he could have had 250 yards.
Could I add to that real quick?
Please do.
And I'm a Justin guy. I have to say that again. How many games has Fields had where he threw for 300? Not very many.
Right.
He's had 2-3 games max where he's thrown, and 2 of those games are recently, against Denver and against Washington. But a lot of Fields' games, of course, we weren't winning anyway, but a lot of Fields' starts, he would have 150 yards, 160 yards, right on par with Bajent there. So I don't think that's fair to criticize Bajent on the yardage when that's about the average for Justin as well. And maybe that's the offense. I'm not saying Justin isn't capable of putting up bigger stats, but that's about his mean on that too, right?
I think so. Go ahead, Heidi.
Goes back to what you said. He has to be consistent, and he hasn't. So why have 3 great games and then go back to shitty games? I'm sorry.
Oh, you can swear on this show. This is HBO.
Yeah, I know. But that's, again, the problem, that he hasn't been consistent.
Yeah. that has been Justin's problem, and and I know that Justin is a very smart guy. I know that he's capable of becoming an NFL quarterback, but I've been told about Justin Fields when he came out of college, everyone said he's not a running quarterback, he's a pocket passer, and now people who are defending him are saying they need to have him run more. Well, what is it? Was he was a pocket passer in college, but not a pocket passer in the NFL? So I was told he doesn't make the same mistake twice. He's made the same mistakes over and over and over again. This has been a very slow learning process, and I want him to succeed. I really, really do. But my eyes are telling me that this has been a slower process than it really needs to be, and that he has to overcome the lack of connection with the game plan and at least show certain competencies that would make me feel better, that I can say with no uncertainty whatsoever that we could bring in a new offensive coordinator next year, better suited to handle his athletic talents, and that he would be successful. I can't say that with 100% certainty. I wonder if anyone in the chat room can say that. Can you say if the guy that coached Lamar Jackson to be an MVP in this year, in this league, or Cam Newton or any other athletic quarterback, can you say for certain that Justin Fields would turn into that type of prolific player? I don't know. I can't say that with certainty. What about you, Dan?
No, because at the end of the day, it's up to the player. I mean, the coach deserves a lot of the blame in some situations with the plays. Again, on Sunday, when Bagent rolled right and completed a pass on the sideline, it looked very nice. But the guy that was sitting beside Heidi was listening to our conversation, and I was like, and I interrupted him. I was like, it's so great to see him roll out and throw the ball, but I was like, why don't they call that with Justin in there? So there are plays like that where you're like, quit putting him in harm's way, quit putting him in an empty backfield. So maybe they don't take advantage of his strengths. But having said that, it's still up to him to protect the ball. It's still up to him to complete passes and to get rid of the ball and all these things. So the things that he doesn't do well now, you can't guarantee just because they made a coaching change that suddenly he's going to erase all of those.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly feel, and look, if I'm writing a script, I would like to see Fields come back and, I'm not saying this disingenuously, come back and just like win 5 or 6 games a row and exclamation point, this is my job. I would like for that to happen. But I am glad he's not playing against the Chargers this week if that happens, because he holds onto the ball too much, as we know. That's the one thing that we can all almost agree with. And that's the only way Khalil Mack's going to get a pile of sacks, is if there's a guy back there holding the ball too long, because Mr. Mack is over fucking rated. And I don't think he's going to get any sacks on Bagent. I don't want to see him have a revenge game against us. Just the idea of that makes me want to go vomit.
Yeah. Heidi, Mike says, I'm not going to simp for Justin, but now is not the time to give up on him either. You're not giving up on Justin, right?
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I don't think anyone here is.
No, but I think it's okay to point out some things that he's not doing right. But I love Justin Fields. I really want him to be our franchise quarterback. I really want that, and I hate to talk about Caleb Williams and that first pick. I understand what they say, but I hate it. I just hate it because I want him. And what I've seen when he makes these big plays, he's awesome. So yeah, I'm not giving up on him. I'm very loyal. As I think Bears fans are the loyalist of all, because here we are. But
I agree with you.
I always, as a personal thing, I always give people many chances. So I love Justin Fields.
3.5 says, Aldo, can we use Badgett as Drew Brees and use Fields as Taysom Hill? I floated that idea on X, and the post that I received back was, you're an idiot. This is a stupid idea. And I don't understand why. And then when I used that example of Brees and Taysom Hill, people were like, okay, I sort of see where you're going with this. But yeah, I think a creative offensive coordinator with the physical skills that Justin Fields has, I'd love to see him in the same backfield quarterback with Tyson Bagent, and Fields goes in motion out one-on-one on a wide receiver, and Bagent throws him the ball. I would like to see Fields on jet sweeps. I would like to see Fields under center. I would like to see Fields used in all of the creative ways that a athletic quarterback should be used, and not necessarily turn him into the pocket passer that Luke Getsy coached in Green Bay. I don't know.
Idiot.
That's right. He is. Gracias, mommy.
He's a fucking idiot.
You can tell that. You can tell that Tooch is in the background here. Let's bring in Johnny Santucci now. Let me get my background set here. I'll put this one there. I'll bring in Tooch here, and then I'll do that. Where somebody's missing here? Where's Mike? Where's Heidi? Hold
Heidi
on. I'll
left.
find.
She saw I was coming in. She left.
Do you think Heidi was named after Heidi, the cartoon character?
On camera 5, and let me put it there. Let me put this here. Let me get that here, and let her come in now. There.
Aldo, do you think Heidi was named after Heidi? Remember the infamous game with the Jets and Raiders? The Heidi game?
That's right.
Was Heidi named after Heidi?
You'd have to ask her. Hi, Heidi. Heidi, were you named after the movie Heidi?
I don't think so, but I can't ask anymore to my dad or my mom anymore, but I don't think I was. So that's but I'm getting some vibes here. Maybe you don't want me anymore here. I can go.
No, why are you saying that? What? Because I had a technical problem? No, it's
yes. No, I'm okay. I'm here.
Yeah. Okay, good. Tooch, welcome to the show. Jesus Christ, Aldo, get your shit together here.
Hola, Tooch.
Am I still here?
Yes, you are.
At least I'm not muted.
Tell us what you thought of the game, brother.
Well, it was great, man. I love. I said on you did the little videos about predictions at your house, and I was like, thought the Bears had a good shot. I thought Tyson Bagent would surprise some people, and I thought the Bears would win. I was right. I didn't know it would be like this big of a blowout, but then I remembered how shitty of a team the Raiders are. Raiders might be as bad as or worse than the Bears. So I'm glad we got the win. I'm glad we broke the home losing streak. It's been like over 400 days since we won a home game, and Dan went to a game and we didn't lose. So I'm extra happy about that.
Thank you. Me too.
But yeah, I mean, I love the way I was listening to the mashup in the background, and some of those guys are idiots. Aldo, like Dan Bernstein, I love the way he hedges. It's like, this is a great compliment. He could be a great backup. As if Kurt Warner never existed, or Tyson Bagent didn't beat out 2 NFL veterans to get a spot on the roster. It's like, that's all you say. Oh, hey, we found a backup. We may have found a starting quarterback, and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe we did. People in the chat room say, hey, it's one game. It's one game. I bet you he gives us a chance to win next weekend against the Chargers. Chargers can be beaten. They're not all that, The thing is that we'll just have to score as many points as we did against the Raiders to keep up with the Chargers. That's it.
Aldo?
Is Aldo still here?
Apparently not.
Oh. Danny's still here, right?
I'm here. I'm waiting on the Bears state of affairs.
Oh, all right. Should I be doing that now, or?
Well, I don't want to
Well,
play
there-
quarterback here.
There's
Maybe
a schedule. Look at that.
I was going to say maybe Aldo's Fields in this situation, and he's on the bench. And if I'm playing quarterback, maybe I'm throwing it to you to do Bear State of Affairs.
Yeah. Does Aldo want to talk about the schedule?
I don't know what's going on with Aldo right now. There he is.
You guys are totally lost without me, right?
Oh, all right.
I mean, Jesus. Dad's been hosting a radio show for 17 years, and he
Heidi,
doesn't know
how
how
was
to
your
step
trip?
up.
No, I did. I threw it to Tooch. I said, let's go to Bear State of Affairs. I said that.
All right.
I've been having technical problems, so trying to deal with it in the background, fellas.
Mm-hmm.
All right, stand by, everybody.
No, you're on mute, John. Come on. Don't laugh. You're on mute.
Am I?
Now you're good. Now you're good.
Did the opening play?
We heard Bear State of Affairs and the Bear coming. We did.
Oh, I didn't even hear that. All right. Bears State of Affairs, 2023 NFL season, week 8. What's happening, Barflies? Well, the Bears played their 7th game of the season at home versus the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday, and the Bears won 30-12. That was their first home victory since September 22nd, 2022. Many pundits around the country had picked the Raiders to beat the hapless Bears, and sportsbooks had installed the Raiders as 2.5-point favorites. But the Bears finally found a coaching staff that was worse than their own. More importantly, it was backup quarterback Tyson Bagent's first NFL start. And didn't you just feel like the kid would win? I know I did, because Chicago is one of those sports towns where the unknown backup quarterback is the most intriguing player on the team. He comes in and rallies the team to victory or breaks the losing streak. He becomes a sort of folk hero. In a nutshell, the backup quarterback is the I told you so. He's the I knew he could play. I was right all along. All hail me guy. Yeah, the unproven backup quarterback is the symbolic savior. The answer to all of the prayers, the cure to all of the suffering. And man, at 1-5 with the season teetering towards lost cause amid scandal and controversy, there's been a lot of suffering. But along comes Tyson Bagent, the undrafted rookie quarterback from tiny Shepherd University, a university that nobody heard of before Bagent made the 53-man roster. And the Division II star really delivered. Bagent was 21 of 29 for 162 yards and 1 touchdown and 0 turnovers. No added turnovers, like ingredients, no added turnovers to the game. Bagent also converted 6 3-downs where 5 of them were through the air, assisted by a dominant Bears rushing attack that put up 170 yards on the ground. It was a big day for Bears running back Dante Foreman, who rushed for 89 yards and 5.6 yards per carry. Foreman also put up 3 touchdowns. Man, it was really great to see the Bears running game come to life. Last season, the Bears were one of the top rushing teams in the NFL. This season, in spite of all the injuries on the offensive line, the Bears are sitting at 7th overall and averaging about 141 rushing yards per game after Sunday. It was pretty impressive, too, that Bagent was seemingly unfazed by the NFL spotlight. He executed the game plan and didn't turn the ball over. Here's the kid in his own words after the game. Quote, "That's a staple of how I've always tried to play quarterback," Bagent said. "Just getting the ball out of your hands, trying to combine that with making really good decisions." Man, Bears fans had to like that. Their main complaint this whole season has been Justin Fields holds on to the ball too long. It seemed like Bagent was counting 1, 2, throw the ball. And let's be honest, Bears' game plan worked. The Bears ran the ball down the Raiders' throat. The defense played strong. Bagent managed the game and protected the ball. Kept the team in manageable downs and distances. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't 21st century air-it-out passing attack fun. It was what you'd expect from old-fashioned, outdated Matt Eberflus. But it achieved the desired result, a Bears win. And while coaches didn't give the game away in the second half, Coach Matt Eberflus let a chance to tack on a field goal at the end of the first half slip away with poor clock management. more mind-boggling coaching malpractice from Jordan Silvera's favorite gym teacher. So listen up, Barflies. Bears are set to embark on a grueling 5-game stretch with 4 of the 5 games on the road before heading into their bye. This week, the Bears travel to Los Angeles to play the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. NFL fans around the world are about to see Bears rookie quarterback Tyson Bagent face off against NFL gunslinger Justin Herbert. And while Bagent did not really throw the ball downfield at all, there's a good chance he will have to take some shots downfield against the Chargers, who currently rank 8th in the NFL against the run. Make no mistake, the Chargers are going to force the kid to throw the ball. In other news, Bears fan Dan went to a Bears game and the Bears didn't lose. How about that?
Hell yeah.
Barfly tailgate host Chris Watts was the cause celeb at the Raiders game. Yes, the Yorkshireman was hitting all the stops on his tour of Chicago. He was the Bears fan of the week, had lunch with Larry, appeared on WFLD TV, met Bears owner George McCaskey, and helped carry a giant American flag onto the Soldier Field grass during the game. So, where are we, Bears fans? We're still in the middle of Thumbgate 2, with Justin Fields expected to miss maybe a few more games, and Tyson Bagent getting to add some more games to his NFL resume. And while this recent Bears victory may have just been a step in the Bears cycle, the Bears beat up on a bad team phase. The Bears' 2023 season is at best still on life support. The coaches and likely the GM are still on the hot seat. And Jim Harbaugh sits in the middle of an NCAA scandal of his own, which may force him to leave college football. Will the Harbaugh situation force the Bears to make a move at head coach? This season of intrigue continues, and that is Bears State of Affairs.
You to a game. You told me you hadn't been to a game since Ditka was coach.
Yeah. Was it the last 2 games I saw were the Fog Bowl and the game right after that, which was the NFC Championship against the Niners, where Joe Montana beat us 28-3, and it was like 55 below zero.
You don't have to bring that part up. That's McMahon's last game as a Bear. It was terrible. Yeah. But the point is, Reagan was president. Ditka was coach. Look how far the world has come.
Was Bush 2 was president, I think, wasn't he?
No, Bush didn't come in until 89.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. He was.
Bush would have been sworn in around January 20th.
Yeah. So a few weeks later.
Yeah, just before the Super Bowl 23 that years when Bush Sr. came in. So the point is, the world has changed dramatically. Heidi was only 2 years old in 1989, and she's a little bit older now, and I'm a little bit older. So you got to get to a game.
I know. It's hard with 3 kids, money, and to travel. I'm in Iowa, 5 hours away, but yeah.
No, but I meant like if we do a homecoming thing, like let's say next year, and we get and you come in to Illinois to Aldo's, we got to get you to the fucking game too.
Yep. Take
let's
a
do it again.
Yep. Yeah, it was a fun party. Got some candid. The Barflies don't know what was going on there though.
I didn't see that picture.
Oh, that's a new one.
What a party, Aldo. Look at how wild it got.
And Chris was in Heidi's bed.
Are you still going there? By the way, Chris texted me this morning apologizing. I hope I didn't make you upset or anything. And I said, no way. It was extremely funny. And it's like an anecdote for a trip that I will never forget. And it's funny. It's so fun.
Aldo said that Chris had no memory of it and was deeply ashamed. And to mock myself a little bit here, in the kitchen early in the day with Will and I think the gentleman who I really liked named Nick. I liked everybody I was there with. Let me just say that I'm not trying to slight anybody. It was like I love meeting Foster too. I mean, I met him the year before, but didn't really talk to him. But anyway, early in the day in the kitchen, I was just talking and was like, all right, I'm going to the deck, and then turned around and almost walked through Aldo's fucking screen. The screen door was closed. I almost walked through it. So
I thought you stepped on the dog.
no, I didn't step on the dog, but as soon as I almost tore up the screen door, which thankfully I didn't do, I told them, go ahead and laugh because I fucking deserve it. I absolutely deserve it. But yeah, going back to the bear. Oh, go ahead, Heidi. My bad.
No, funny things that happened to me, embarrassing things that happened to me. One of those was when we were walking to the game after the tailgate. Remember, we were there only for a few minutes for a beer, but I told John the phone that my nose there was something wrong with my nose because I was smelling at this, like the smell of skunk everywhere. And and it smells horribly. And he told me, skunk? Yes, it was zorrillo. And he told me, no, that's weed. So I was like, oh my God, that smells. It smells horribly.
It was at the hotel too, where I was staying too. I was like,
yeah, but they laughed. Of course, they laughed at me for a while.
The dispensaries are fully operational now in Illinois.
And I know now. I was embarrassed to ask that, but it was funny.
We were told that poor Chris got sick on Sunday. And look, I love Chris. It was so great meeting him. Yeah. And but I heard he got sick between I guess drinking too much and Foster smoking, and or maybe he smoked with Foster. I don't know all the details, but apparently poor guy was vomiting. So
I was afraid Sunday he'd vomit on the American flag.
Oh my God! He'd play a wrestling heel like I'm from England, brother, and just start throwing up on the flag. I kept saying it's all a part of my diabolical plan to make him an American citizen. We got you on the field embracing our flag, and now you're gonna move to America.
Yeah.
And there was a drinking contest between Americans and England. So
England was victorious.
Yeah. Yes. Clearly. Everything was perfect on Saturday. I spent a lot of time talking to John Buffon. Both the Buffon brothers are great. We had so much fun.
Yeah.
And we made a lot of jokes about John Buffon's boxers. By the way, we're talking about the people that box. That was a mix-up, and we had a lot of fun.
Okay, I've got to comment on that real quickly.
Yes.
I love the other Dan. I think he knows that.
Yes.
And I hope anybody that's been around knows that. But Dan and I had a small difference of opinion. Follow me on this, John. I don't know if you know this. So Dan was insisting we ride the train with him. And I was like, man, if someone else is leading the way, I'll go. I don't know the way in Chicago well enough to get on the train and know where the stops are. I just want to get into an Uber and tell them where to take me. And there's no anxiety about it. So I was like, look, if the Buffon brothers want to take the train, I'll follow them and go with them. So long story short, I said, look, man, John told me he'd rather do the Lyft or Uber too. He goes, that's not what he told me. In fact, he just said that to you because he's afraid of you. I was like, Buffon's afraid? I was like, Buffon's not afraid of me. He's a skilled boxer.
Yeah.
I was like, if Buffon wanted to kick my ass, he could. He's a trained fighter. Yep. I was like, he's not afraid of me, but I don't know if Dan was drunk saying that or if he really thought it. He's like, John said that because he's afraid of you. I was like, there's no validity to that at all.
Yep.
So I hope Dan's not mad at me, though.
You didn't take the train, did you?
No, I mean, like I told him, I compared it to DC on the Metro. I don't really know. Like, you get on this color, you get on that color, you move, you go this train, that train. I was like, I didn't want to have it fucking beg somebody to tell me which train to be on, like which way am I supposed to be going? Oh, now we're running out of time. I just wanted to tell the driver, take me to this address. This is where Heidi's hotel is, and we're going to walk to the stadium from there. And it's 0.5 miles. It's going to be fine, and not have to worry about it, you know?
Yeah, no, I would have done the same because I get lost everywhere. I still get lost in Acapulco, and I've lived here for 25 years. So,
wow.
You know. Also Dan, the other Dan, he's great. He's everybody I loved meeting everybody, but we spent a lot of time also talking, and I like him very much.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed everyone that I spoke with on that day.
Me too.
Yeah, great party.
Yeah.
I got to meet Heidi Zimmerman for the first time.
Aha.
Yep.
Many people did. I also showed them my feet.
Yeah, Dan was going on like he was like giving it to me, man. Just I don't want to say he's yelling at me, that was too strong, but he's just like cutting a wrestling promo on me, telling me I had to take the train with him. And I was telling him, not even John and his brother want to take the train. I was like, can you please stop trying to pressure me to take the train? And Heidi was like, I think they're starting to argue. And she's like, listen, boys, here are my feet. And just put her feet up. Look at my feet, admire them. Stop arguing.
Was Rex Ryan there too?
He might as well have been. Will knows everybody. He talked to Devin Hester on the phone while we were there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, future Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
Devin
Will
Hester.
was great. He was at the same hotel as me, but I didn't. I said, I'll see you for breakfast. I didn't see him though. But
he's awesome.
yeah. Yeah, so Danny, how'd you like seeing the Bajent's first start? How did he look in person?
Well, I can tell you, being at Fields' first start and now Bajent's first start, winning's a lot more fun. And the fact that he didn't get sacked 9 times, and we won 30. Well, again, it was 30-6 late. You know, Oakland scored really late to make it 30-12, what they would call garbage time. It's usually us who scores in that moment really late, and it's supposed to not count. So the fact that they won the game made me happy. And again, it's not an insult at Justin. You can be happy for Bajent and still be a fan of Fields. It feels like there are a lot of people forcing you to choose one or the other, and I don't understand why that is.
I mean, I know, like there were shots of like Justin Fields celebrating after the victory in the locker room, and Bajent getting the game ball. But man, privately in his own head, don't you think he was like a little bit conflicted, Danny? You know, like, man, I hope this kid doesn't like throw for 300 yards, just like slaughter the Raiders.
You know, you're saying that the Vikings used to have a running back, Ed Marinara, that played later, was on Law and Order or one of those kind of shows. And he was the backup for Chuck Foreman in Super Bowl 8 and 9. And he goes, I can say this now. This is on NFL Films later. He's like, you can't say that when you're, playing on the team, but you're sitting there privately thinking, I hope this motherfucker gets hurt or something, because I want to play. So you're a teammate. You don't really want the guy to get hurt, as he was saying, but you want a situation to come up where you get to get on the field. And if that means he has to get hurt, then so be it. You want your opportunity. So maybe, just as a human nature, maybe he's thinking, I don't want him to succeed this much. I want him to win, but yeah, Hill Street Blues. There you go. I knew it was the show. He was on something years later after his Vikings days. But he was saying he couldn't admit it then, but he was hoping Chuck would get hurt so he could play.
I was visiting with my brother a little bit, over the weekend, his family over the weekend, and his son, my nephew, had a shirt that said "Legalize Marinara." I was like, I gotta get one of those shirts.
But there's got to be some truth to that, where Fields is happy for him. He probably likes Bajent. He's known him now for 4, 5, 6 months or what have you, and is probably rooting for him. But he's like, damn, it is my job, and if he keeps playing well, like I want to still have my job. But then again, maybe Fields, because he is so ultra talented, he's amazingly talented, and if you're that good, maybe you think, I'll get back on the field. I can prove it just with my own natural ability.
Yeah. Fair enough.
That, and also I hope if he's gonna be traded, I hope we didn't ruin his chances of being traded to a good team that needs a startup quarterback, not a backup. I really hope so. If he's gone, I don't want him gone, but if he's gone, I just hope we didn't ruin that for him.
I would like to think. I could be wrong. I'd like to think, with the trade deadline only a week away. I know they were talking to Lance Briggs about, would you take a second round pick? I'm not sure that someone would offer us a second but I'm hoping at the very least he's going to be with the team the rest of the year. And they still control him for this 4th year, and they could always franchise him if need be. So I'm hoping that, he's going to be here at least the rest of the year to show what he's got, I would hope.
Yeah, the NFL trade deadline's coming up. So, I mean.
Yeah, 1 week from today.
But either trade him or wait at the end of the season and let him go. That's what I meant. I just hope he goes. If he goes to be a startup quarterback.
You don't want him to be Mitchell Trubisky and have to be a backup forever after his Bears experience.
Exactly. Exactly.
It just worries me. I guess there is some truth to when people say, Caleb Williams, what would be different if we drafted him? Because if you look in recent years, whether it be Cade McNown or Mitchell Trubisky or Jay Cutler or Justin Fields, in some ways it feels like it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. We never get it right, as an organization. For years ago, they said
29 quarterbacks since 2000. Is it getting it right, Dan?
Right. Well, but I'm just saying with the guy that we thought was our guy, and you can laugh and scoff, but not you specifically. But at the time, McNown was a first-round pick, so I think there was some hope that he was going to be the guy. He lasted 2 years, and then, like I said, Jay, we put all of our assets into Jay. 2 first-rounders, a third, and a fifth, and he was here 8 years, but he didn't win but 1 playoff game. And then Trubisky, and obviously they thought highly of him because they didn't even take Mahomes, or we don't want to go down that path again, but
no.
And then now Fields. So we traded up to get him. So, Musa and Muhammad once said that it's where wide receivers come to die. Maybe it's where quarterbacks come to die.
Oh, most certainly. most assuredly, Danny. Yep. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, it's like, Danny, I guess the question right now currently with the Bears is I even talked about like how the sports reporters in Chicago are hedging. He's a great backup, it's like, is it possible for Tyson Bagent to become an NFL starter?
Yes. I mean, right. I'm not jumping on his bandwagon and saying, oh, right, he's our starter, he's our guy, trade Justin today. I'm not saying anything like that, but you can't put a ceiling on the guy immediately the way Dan Bernstein was saying, it's such a compliment to say he'll be a Chase Daniel who earns money and stays on the bench. I mean, that's so short-sighted toward the kid. I mean, yeah, his whole, maybe the odds are against him, but like he would say his whole life has been against the odds.
Yeah.
So how can you say he's not, we know for sure he's never going to lead the Bears to anything. We don't know that.
Right.
You don't know that. And there's still over half a season left. Who knows how many games he'll get to play.
If he beats the Chargers next week, I can't wait to hear what the media narrative is.
It's going to be...
Well, yeah. I'm trying to think who... it was Dan Hampton who said, not in that mashup, but in general, he said something to the effect of, you can't lie to the men in the locker room. And, if he does come out and beat the Chargers and is in command again, you can't lie to the players, the other men there, and say, well, Justin's better for us if he's not. The players will know. And he's like, it's a disservice to all of them if Bagent's better for the team and then doesn't get the start. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not trying to say that he is. I don't know. But he looked good Sunday, and that's okay. That's okay to look good on Sunday. There's so many people when you read Twitter, they're like mad about his success. And last time I checked, he still got the C on his helmet, just like everybody else on the teams I'm rooting for.
Exactly. That's so absurd. Why can't we have a good backup quarterback? Why can't we? I just think that's
like I said,
totally absurd.
In Chicago, the backup quarterback's the most intriguing guy on the team.
And let me just say again, I don't want to criticize those specific people because I was guilty of that, like I said, with Jay and McCown, and even before that with Rex Grossman and Kyle Orton. I hated Kyle Orton. In 2008, when they made Kyle the starter, I was like, why did they re-sign Rex to just proclaim Orton the quarterback? Like, you play Rex, give him a shot. And before that, I didn't like Mike Tomczak. I wanted McMahon in there. Whenever Neil Anderson or Brad Muster were hurt, I'm like, I don't want Robert Green or Johnny Bailey to succeed or Darren Lewis. I want Neil Anderson in there. God damn it. So it's just like, I've done this. I've been these people who have been upset at the wrong guy succeeding. But I'm so old now. I'll be 43 next Tuesday. And I've watched the Bears for like 38 years of my life, for fuck's sake. So I just want to win. And I don't care who does it.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question then. Let's say Bajent goes out and beats the Chargers and the Saints. Justin Fields not ready to come back. We're heading into
Carolina. Yeah.
Heading into Carolina. And Justin Fields, does Fields get his starting position back?
I mean, if you think back in history, two things. Everyone's going to reference Tom Brady. But at the time, Drew Bledsoe was very popular and very good as a quarterback. He had taken them to the Super Bowl once before. But in the end, even he lost his job because the other guy kept winning. So anyone can lose their job if the other guy just keeps winning. And that applies to Justin or even Bajent if it's the other way around. So, yes, but I wanted to reference, I thought of this earlier. Back in the 70s, the Cowboys had a guy named Clint Longley who came on a Thanksgiving Day because Staubach was hurt and had this big game, this fucking 300-400 yard game or whatever. And I think he beat Washington. He beat somebody on Thanksgiving Day, like 73 or something. But Longley was so conceited about it, he was like demanding that the job become his and tried to fight Staubach. So eventually they traded Longley and kept Staubach. I think they made the right decision. But thankfully, Bajent doesn't have that kind of disposition where he's suddenly arrogant and thinking he's better than Fields because
could he arm wrestle Fields for the
maybe his dad could, from what they say.
Yeah.
This makes me think of that terrible Stallone movie, Over the Top. I keep seeing Aldo come back and then leave, and it's like he's there he is again.
Yeah, all right.
He looks like Seth Rogen there.
Yes. Are you there, Aldo?
I don't think he is. I think maybe Aldo's there he is. All right. Yes.
Yeah, that was in my cute stage. I was going through a cute stage.
Oh, we don't believe that for a minute.
I do.
Thank you, Heidi. Guys, I want to show you something, but I got to load it in. It'll take a few seconds here. But I was looking through my archives because I'm having trouble getting the picture up that the four of us. So I came up with a temporary solution. But let me see if I can find this picture. It'll take me a little while. But why don't you guys continue? What were we talking about?
Well, do you know the Clint Longley story?
No.
He was the quarterback for Dallas. He has this big game in like 73 on Thanksgiving and just throws like 350 or whatever. And he's just like, I'm better than Staubach. I should be the starter. And like tried to fight him. And Tom Landry fucking traded him right after that. So I was like, thankfully, Bajent's not like that. He's not out here like pounding his chest saying, I'm better than Fields and goddamn it, I'll fight him.
We were
I was just going to say that Bajent seems like the perfect teammate. I mean, after the game, he said we had some adversity. Justin went down, and Justin was standing right behind him in the camera shot, and they seem like they like each other and that they have respect for one another. So that's a good thing to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was clapping for him too when they gave him the ball.
For him. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes, it was. Mm-hmm.
All right, I think I found my picture here. So I want you to see a picture of a former barroom person standing next to a professional football player by the name of Kyle Long.
Is that Phil?
That is Phil.
Holy shit. Kyle is a big dude. Look at his hands.
And Phil is a small man. So let's tell it like it is here.
Yes, he's small. He must be like an inch taller than I am, which is not much. And I'm not saying bad things about him. He's just not very tall. Like I am not very tall at all. I'm 5
Yeah, this would be because I think Kyle Long is about the same height as Dan Aguire, right?
I don't know. I'm 6'5". I'm sure Kyle's a huge guy, so I don't know.
I thought he was listed as 6'5", Kyle Long.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Maybe I don't know. I have one of his jerseys, and my cousin didn't steal that one.
All right, we are in that 30-minute zone where you guys want to talk about pop culture. Have you seen anything?
Yeah.
Heidi, have you been to the
Real
movies
quick,
and
though,
seen
Aldo,
anything?
can I ask you
No.
that question I asked Dan?
I'm sorry. I think I should go if it's okay with you guys because it's starting to rain heavily here, and I would like to charge my phone again just in case the power's out. And I don't watch movies or anything, as I told you before. I'm sorry. Can I leave?
Absolutely, we love you.
No, you cannot. You must stay.
That's right. You must
Okay, I can stay
and do
here
the
and
rest of
listen to you. I can do that.
No, go charge your phone.
Go ahead, Heidi. Yeah, take care.
I'm very happy being here. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening and putting up with me.
Oh,
Thank you
Heidi,
so much.
Heidi, hold on before you go.
That was awesome.
Like I said, I always love your voice. Reminds me of Penelope Cruz. Thank you for your cup that you gave me as a gift. And don't forget, you're supposed to fill in for me next week. My girlfriend and I are watching movies that you don't like in the theater.
No, I'm in for next week. Of course I'm in. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody. Tuch, Aldo, Dan.
Ay, Dios mío.
Ay, Dios mío, ahí viene Otis. His name is Otis. It's a very huge hurricane could turn into 5
Category 5. Yeah.
Yes, category 5. So I better go and be ready.
Good luck. Please be safe. Bye-bye.
Yes, I will. Thank you. Bye.
That is Heidi Zimmerman. There I am.
Yeah,
there I am.
I was going to ask you the question I asked Dan. I was like, if let's say Bajent wins 3 games in a row, Justin, I'm healthy. Does Justin get his starting job back? Not like what the Bears are going to do, or maybe what you think will happen, or what the Bears will do, or the coaches will do, whatever, and what you would do.
Yeah, I think you have to give Justin Fields an opportunity because he's the number 1 quarterback. And so you have to, if Bajent goes off, has a good game against the Chargers, and maybe wins 2 or 3 in a row, you still have to give Justin the reins for a game. It's just like somebody said in the Media Mashup, the reins are much shorter. The leash is much shorter. And so this is the number 1 quarterback. Tyson knows it. The head coach has proclaimed it. There's a huge investment on him as a first-round pick. And you want to give him an opportunity to improve so that you can make a better decision about whether to retain him in 2024, what kind of a contract he deserves, and so forth. If he comes back and plays as he has, and Bajent has shown you that he can play as well or better, then the decision is pretty simple. It's time to move on and then bring in a new quarterback in 2024 to either compete with Bajent or maybe be the anointed number 1, the number 1 quarterback because of the draft position he was taken. So there's some interesting options here. And I'll throw the question back at you and Dan. Yeah. Do you have faith in Ryan Poles to make the decisions that you think will propel the team into playoff contention?
Is it me or Dan?
Go ahead, Tooch.
Well, it depends on whether or not the Bears management or Bears coaches. Bears coaches probably still think, hey, we're definitely alive this season. We could probably make the playoffs, And fans are probably like, not so fast, But Ryan Poles may have other ideas that, like, I've got to get these guys out because he probably doesn't give a crap whether or not we make the playoffs or not. In fact, probably rather that we didn't, so he can build the team with higher draft picks. You see what I'm saying?
See, I don't buy that, but please finish your thought, and then I'll retort.
Right, and if that's the case, that Poles really is aiming for the future, what he has to find out what he has, then it would be Justin Fields in there starting.
Alexis Jade from Chicago Bears, saying that she can suit up.
Yeah.
Listen, before Dan jumps in here with his opinion on Poles, why would Ryan Poles want to miss the playoffs? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. That's just why you're playing, to make the playoffs, and then you get that opportunity to win the Super Bowl. You might get lucky, you might get hot, you might get on a run, and you can go deep into the playoffs. The whole idea of having – what do you mean he doesn't?
He probably doesn't want to miss the playoffs, but he probably thinks we can't make the playoffs, you know?
Well, yeah.
Being a realist, yeah. I give that to you, though.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The roster is not ready yet. There's no doubt about it. And then you can blame coaching, whether it's ready and blah, blah, blah. But listen, if Tyson Bagent or
it's better for his job, security, if he makes the playoffs this year.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
And if one of these two quarterbacks on the roster gets hot, you know, a really good quarterback can disguise a lot of blemishes on a team. Aaron Rodgers did it for years with Green Bay, which is 100%. Why they were in the playoffs all the time. Dan, what do you think about Ryan Poles? Do you think he has your confidence?
I don't think he would have signed Aguire late as he did if he wasn't trying to go all in and make a wild card spot or somehow win the division. Also, to me, now I could be wrong. It's not like Poles and I are bros, but I think he likes Eberflus. I really think he respects Eberflus. But if the Bears just go off the cliff to save his own ass, he's going to have to fire his friend. So I think he would rather make the playoffs and be able to justify keeping Eberflus because I think he likes him. And so if you're asking me, do I think he wants to lose or make the play? I think he's going to say, well, fuck, Carolina can give us a high pick. So we might as well go all in and try to get there ourselves. And when you are 2-5, but you know, there's 18 games now or 17 games now with a bye, of course. So we're looking at, we still have time in theory if you could get hot. So I don't think he's given up. I would be shocked if he traded our assets away the way he did last year. I really don't think he will. Maybe if somebody really tried to bite on Eddie Jackson, which why would they? But I don't think he's trading Jalen Johnson. I think maybe he pays him now. Who knows? I mean, one game maybe doesn't mean everything, but he had to be impressed with what he saw.
I think Brad Biggs had the story today that around the NFL, rumor has it that the Bears are standing pat in the trade deadline would come and go without much movement or any at all.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that assessment or that guess or that guesstimate or whatever you want to call it. I think unless somebody calls Ryan Poles and blows his socks off, hey, I'll give you a number 1 draft pick for Jalen Johnson, then he almost has to take that deal, a first round draft pick. But that's not going to happen.
Wasn't the knock on Jalen Johnson that he doesn't get interceptions though after this last game? You know, I mean, maybe he's like, you have to say maybe he's turning the corner. You know,
I would love to think that, but those interceptions were against Brian Hoyer. So you know,
well, you know what? Everyone shit on Brian Hoyer, and I don't like Hoyer, and I'm not here to defend Hoyer. I didn't like him as the Bears quarterback, but I mean, like he threw a touchdown to Devontae Adams that was a bad drop. He had a couple of passes that could have made his whole day, could have flipped it the whole way if the guys had just caught him. And by the way, I did not realize the Raiders had Jesper Horsted, who caught Fields' first ever touchdown. I saw Horsted late in the game, and the guy that had a 70 or 80-yard touchdown against us on opening day with the Falcons in 2017, that tight end, Austin Hooper, is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah, Austin.
I was glad to see him do nothing. I still am bitter about him scoring on us on opening day in 17.
Are San Francisco really light years ahead of us? I mean, you saw the Vikings take them apart last night, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, that's good for us in one regard because Minnesota's probably going to move on from Cousins. Yeah. Well, they're not going to now until at least the season's over. So I don't want them getting a first-round pick or something for Cousins. They'll think they'll want to win now and keep him, and then maybe that puts them in disarray next year with the new quarterback.
So Alexis had a good point there. It's like, is it really just the fans that want the tank?
I think there's a lot of fans that want.
Oh, I know there's a lot, but I'm just saying, is it just us fans? I mean, I wonder. I mean, like,
I think they tanked last year, but I don't think that could cost him his job as well if they would lose like the next 10 games or something like they did last year. There's no way Poles wants to do that again.
And the players don't want to tank. They don't want to play for an organization that's thinking about tanking. I think that last year, the tank was not in full effect into the last several games when they started thinking, hey, obviously we got a bad team here. Why not, let's try to help our draft position here with some of the strategic decisions we make on the field or the players that we play. I mean, playing Tim Boyle at all against the Vikings in week 17 or 18, that should be, that's a sign that you're tanking. There's no doubt about it.
And when Peterman's doing well and the Bears were in it, and they're like, well, he can't play too good now or too well. Let's put that Boyle guy we signed on Friday in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's in this last 20 minutes here, let's stitch the pop culture talk. Let's stitch it unless
did you want to talk about the schedule real quick?
I do.
Okay.
Because this what do you think, Tooch? Do we win against the Chargers? The Chargers have lost their last 2 games, but they lost them against very good teams. Can we beat LA in LA?
Look, it doesn't help that, like I said in Bear State Affairs, 4 out of the next 5 games are on the road. That's going to be tough. I mean, the Chargers are going to be tough. It's the Khalil Mack revenge game. Can we win it? Sure. I mean, their Chargers are really banged up, man. Then the Saints have 0 offense. They have really good defense. They're tough to beat at home. Week 10, you could definitely beat the Panthers, at home. That shouldn't be a problem. Yeah. And then the Lions on the road, that's going to be tough, man. No question. Going to be tough. Vikings on the road, that's also going to be tough. But I think we had a chance to beat them last week. That Vikings defense is very underrated. They're tough to run on. They pressure the quarterback, and Brian Flores is a good defensive coordinator. So
they might be without Danielle Hunter because he's big trade bait coming up. So we'll see what happens there. But the next 4 games are against teams that lost this past Sunday. So Dan, I know that makes you feel better, right?
Yeah, I don't want to look too far ahead with the Lions and Vikings because I think it depends on what the Bears are doing. If they could get hot going into that, then and get some momentum, then that's possible. So if you're telling me that they go and lose to Los Angeles and New Orleans and struggle to beat Carolina, then I'm looking at a blowout against Detroit. But if you're telling me they beat the Chargers, maybe beat the Saints, and beat the Panthers, then why not go in and beat Detroit? It's just it's plausible, but it's plausible the other way too. So I say just one game at a time. Do I think that they could harness what they've done? I know they lost to Minnesota, but the Washington game, from what I could hear on commentating when I watched today, again, I'm no expert on formations, and I won't pretend to be. I'm okay, but I'm not an expert. I kept hearing the Fox broadcast say that the Bears were playing a man-to-man the majority of the day, and that seemed to be throwing off the Raiders. Yeah. So if they're typically always zone and make that adjustment as if they did against Washington, if he can make adjustments like that and maybe have the Chargers befuddled a little bit, and then you got some rhythm on offense. We should get Roschon Johnson back this week too. So even more depth at running back in the event that somebody goes down or, you don't have number 20 in there fumbling a fucking pitch or something at the end of the game. So why not beat the Chargers? Yes, I think we can beat the Chargers. We can beat the Chargers. The Saints, I've never been a fan of Derek Carr. Never. So can they go and beat the Saints? Yeah. I don't even know. Who's the Saints coach? I don't even know who's coaching the Saints.
Dennis Allen.
Oh, Dennis Allen, former Raider, DC. Okay. But, I mean, am I intimidated to think that they're not playing the 09 Saints where they're trying to kill us with Bountygate and cheating and listening to the other team's radio calls?
What was the Bountygate coach's name? I forgot.
Sean Payton. He's in.
No.
You mean Double G, Greg? With the 2 G's. Greg, what is this?
Greg Williams.
Yeah, Greg Williams with the 2 G's.
Yeah.
Double G. But yes, I think we can beat the Chargers. I mean,
of course.
I don't want to say this and then, oh man, he throws for 5 touchdowns on us, but doesn't it seem like they really want that kid in Los Angeles to be a star, and he hasn't really done anything yet to be a star yet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know they made the playoffs last year, and they lost. They had like a 38-point lead and lost. So I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying the guy's any good, or not saying he's not good, but I'm just saying it's not like we're playing, Montana in '88 at the height of his, Hall of Fame career here, being Justin Herbert, or is it Herbert? What's his name?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So I mean, what I've seen of him, he's good, but I mean, is he not? Is it the Chargers are unbeatable with him? I don't think so.
I totally agree. See, the key here is the Bears' improved defense, because these teams, these 3 of these 4 teams that are coming up, and they're the road teams, they'll be playing at home, have good defenses. And so the Bears' defense needs to continue to ascend. And so what I want to ask you guys is, how much better is this Bears defense since Alan Williams was caught with his dick in his hand watching porn in his office? I'm just making that up. I'm just guessing. I don't know if that's true, but I know one thing: when HR gets involved and computers are looked at, it's usually because you're watching some kind of porn.
Or maybe he was fucking somebody else's wife or something too.
Well, and this is all speculation, and this is a comedy show, so we can speculate and laugh at how brilliant we are.
Or maybe if you really want to try to be funny, then remember the HBO show First and 10?
Yeah.
Had OJ on it and a lot of old players. But the whole point of the show was that Delta Burke became the owner of the California Bulls because she was blackmailing her husband, who was having sex with the tight end. So maybe Alan Williams was having sex with one of the McCaskies.
Yeah, it could be.
Sometimes we're funny, sometimes we suck, sometimes we're...
That is so true.
I'm just saying.
All right. So let's talk about this defense. Yeah. How much better is it with Eberflus calling the plays and basically being the defensive coordinator and head coach? Tooch, you first.
Well, they really played good over the weekend. They didn't miss their assignments. They played a little bit more man, which is what our corners are built for. You got pressure on the cornerback. They stopped the run. Brisker had a good game like that. The secondary played well. Josh Jacobs had 35 yards rushing, I think, something like that. He's a good player. I think it's great. I think since Alan Williams left, Eberflus has been calling the defense, and we got a new defensive consultant. I forget the guy's name.
It was Sam Hurd's name when he was a drug dealer. Phil Snow.
Phil Snow came in. Probably, they said they did some self-scouting over the long week, but it took a while for Eberflus to get his footing. Let's not kid around.
I didn't say Herbert wasn't impressive. I'm just saying it's not like it's a team that you can't beat. What's his record in the first couple of years? Is my point.
He's a 500 quarterback.
Yeah,
he's 28 and 27. Oh, let me double check that for sure.
Yeah, so that's what
27 and 28. So look at that.
So yeah, there you go. I'm just responding to whoever that is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, Dan. Tell me about the defense.
The defense, the ability to actually blitz now instead of just staying in that soft fucking shell.
Yeah.
And again, switching to man-to-man, which we were all begging at various points earlier in the year against Tampa or even KC. At some point, can't you double team Kelsey? For God's sake, why is he always open? I mean, that's the guy you got to double team. And then every time they show Taylor Swift, she looks like she just saw a car accident and someone was beheaded. And then she's like fucking playing with Mahomes' wife. God, I'm so glad we're not playing them again. It just makes me sick. But anyway, to your point, the fact that there seems to be a little bit more flexibility with the defense. Maybe that was Alan Williams' fault, or maybe that's Eberflus saying, I've got to change or I'm going to lose my gig here. I don't know. But another thing, it seems like the linebackers are improving now. Edwards has been tackling really well, but Edmonds seemed to be off or a step slow or missing tackles. And, he had a pick the other day. So if we can start to get Edmonds playing the way he played in Buffalo, and then, Sanborn's got heart more than talent, but he's okay, So if the linebackers are playing better, if you can suddenly get Ngakoue going and getting some pressure and get some sacks, and the secondary seems to be better without Eddie. Now, I hate to say that, but I'm just saying that maybe they're getting to his own, but also not to run away from the question, Aldo, look at the offense. Like they started the game out, they went 3 and out. And then they didn't let that affect them and came back and scored. And then later in the game, almost had a 90-yard drive. It was 80, 89, 88 yards. And to put the game away, that's something that the Bears with Fields or Cutler or anyone, we don't do that very much. To go the whole field and that drive was 7-8 minutes? That was a thing of beauty. So if your defense is ascending a little bit and can be complemented with your offense going 70, 80 yards, knocking off half the quarter, that's going to make them better too.
Indeed. I like what you're saying.
I understand why Dan hates the Chiefs, because they're too fucking happy. They're always happy. It's like, fuck you, you're too happy.
Good teams are that way. I remember in the 80s when the San Francisco 49ers were ascending, and that was a cocky ass team, man. I hated their guts. And when the Bears finally beat those Bill Walsh teams, that was a great feeling.
I thought you liked Bill Walsh.
I do, but I didn't like the players, sticking it to us when they were beating our ass. I like Bill Walsh's brain. I like his thinking. I like his offensive West Coast system. I've got a book that he co-wrote along with Brian Billick about coaching, and I was just looking at it the other day. I really love the way he thinks about offensive football, and it's very, very strategic. He looks at weaknesses from the other teams. He looks at using the short passing game as a running game. I mean, everything that is happening in the NFL now with offenses is basically born out of what Bill Walsh, and really you got to give some credit to Don Coryell from the Chargers, but really born out of Bill Walsh did with the 49ers. And I have total respect for him as a coach. The players
and couple that with Chip Kelly too. I know Chip Kelly wasn't overly successful, but the way the formations are run with those RPOs and trying to get as many plays as you can on any given drive and not worrying about the clock and, awkward, the receivers going, instead of going in motion straight, going behind the quarterback and around in a fucking circle. All that was born out of Chip Kelly's Nick Foles era Eagles. And then everyone started copying it.
Wow. I didn't know that they were playing a World Series.
No, it's the NLCS.
It will be cool. He means, it'll be
okay.
Diamondbacks and the Rangers, I think.
I haven't been following, so go ahead.
Yeah, I was hoping that Dusty would win last night, and he lost. But I've got a friend who's a loyal Phillies fan too, so I really hate that the Diamondbacks have won.
Oh no, that's the
my friend has the NBA or has the MLB extra innings and watches every game, that kind of thing. Like he's not a bandwagon guy at all.
That's what I am nowadays with baseball. I'll start watching again when the Cubs or Sox start winning. Robbie says the Cubs are coming. Yeah, they did. They did. I don't like the Cubs ownership, so I don't follow them very much, but I certainly love going out to Wrigley Field and having a few beers and watching some Major League Baseball.
You don't like the Sox ownership either.
Yeah, right. They're just as bad. They're just bad. All right. In the last few minutes here, is there anything that you've seen that you want to share with our audience? Start with you, Tooch.
Yeah, I'm watching a really good show on Netflix called Bodies. I sent you and Dan the little synopsis and stuff. It's really cool so far. I'm only one episode in because I've been so busy at work, man. It's just today was like one of the worst days of work. It was just three people were out, so it's just me and another guy covering every single magazine, and it's like we were both joking about what could go wrong, and I'm like, well, the proofers will go down, and I'll have to fix them. And sure enough, the proofers go down. I got to fix them. And I've got all these deadlines. And then he was like saying, "I'll bet you watch President Carter die. I will have to do the Jimmy Carter magazine." Thankfully Jimmy's okay, so we're
still hanging in there.
No Dakota. So it's like, but Bodies
you might
is
have
really
to do a Richard Roundtree magazine tonight.
Yeah, coming up. No, the Bodies is really cool. It's it takes place in 3 different times, in 1890, 1940, all in the same street in London. 1890, 1941 when the Germans were bombing London, 2023 and 2053 in the future. And each one of them has, in the 4 time zones, an inspector who finds a dead body. And the dead body is exactly the same in all 4 things. It's a nude guy with a tattoo and one eye gone, or a bullet hole in his eye and stuff. And it's really interesting. The mystery is really good. It's got some little science fiction type elements. And the first episode ending has a big scare moment. So if you like a jump scare or whatever, but enjoying it so far. I think you guys like it.
All right, I'll take a look. I know, Dan, I know you've been busy and probably haven't watched much, but if you have, please share. And if you haven't watched anything, why don't you tell us what you're going to see next week on this very same night?
Next week, on my birthday, I'm going to go to the theater. Again, my goal is to watch, I can never remember the name of the title yet, but the Scorsese film with DiCaprio and De Niro.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
That's it. I'm going to watch it. Thankfully, it's been confirmed that all 3 are still at the theater. Then I'm going to watch the new Exorcist film, and even watch Saw 110, or I'm sorry, Part 10. And I'm probably not going to get much out of that, but just because it's there. And back when Saw was like every year, when they were Saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they were always coming out right around my birthday, obvious target audience with Halloween. Yeah. And so when I was like 26, 7, 8, 9, whatever, when they were fresh, I was watching them every year right around my birthday. So that kind of brings a small nostalgic feeling to it. So yeah, I'm planning on watching all 3 of those films next week. And that's going to be a good birthday. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, you're right. I haven't seen anything. If I could bring it full circle, since I'm about to go, there was a couple of people that I didn't acknowledge that I got to spend some time with Saturday. It was good to meet Joe Mandel finally in reality. Got a picture with he and Danny Shimon. I didn't get a photo with Aaron Current. I regret that. I talked to Aaron, in I think Ohio before that Browns game, and we've talked to him on air before. And I wish I would have spent some more time with him. I like him too. It just didn't work out that way. And like I said, it was good seeing Tooch. I love seeing, not that I'm saying it's more than Tooch, but I'm just saying, I don't know if I'll ever see or meet Chris again. I don't know if, or even Heidi. So it was a special deal to be around them, considering we're so far apart in the world. Who's to say? Chris says if I ever get married again, he'll come in for a wedding. So let's see, maybe, who knows? But I like seeing everybody.
But he said it had to be in Illinois, right?
Oh no, he was joking, saying that it would be great to be like right here with all the Barroom people. And I was like, well, I don't know if Aldo wants me to get married in his yard, but I don't even know if I'm going to get married again. But in a hypothetical scenario, all that would be cool too, So, but it was fun. Like I said, hanging out with everybody and seeing everyone. Buffon was great. I mean, really great. And I liked meeting his brother. And Aldo, you're always awesome with me. Who else did we see? Will was great. And like I said, the younger guy, Nick, was awesome. Wish I had a picture with him too. Dan, I love Dan. I truly do.
I don't remember Nick. I don't think I met Nick.
No, you weren't there yet. He was there early in the day. It was like Aldo and myself just watching a replay of
driving in.
We were watching a replay of Super Bowl 32, and then suddenly Will and Nick were there, and then we started drinking and everything else. I shouldn't say that. I don't want to make Don unhappy. Aldo was completely sober.
Hey, by the way, Nick brought over these cans of Freshie. It's a tequila seltzer. It's a sponsor for his show. Just Another Year. The podcast is called Jay podcast. Just Another Year, and this is his sponsor. So I told him I'd give him a plug.
Wasn't he on the show?
Yeah, he was been a guest on the show.
Okay, that was Nick. Okay, he was there. I missed him. Okay.
Yeah. He came in. His parents had like an anniversary party, so he just came in to spend a little time. But nice to see him.
Yeah. No, it was awesome to meet him. Awesome to spend some time with Foster as well, and Cliff Victoria and Jeb Bush. The guy looked like Jeb Bush to me, and I wasn't just drinking.
Curtis, I think his name was Curtis.
I can't remember that.
He looked like George Bush, but drank like Billy Carter.
Oh, God. Well, that could have been.
Dan, before you go, here's the weather for the game on Sunday night at SoFi Stadium. It's going to be 72 degrees a high, and then before the game is over, it'll drop down to the upper 50s. But it is a partially indoor stadium, so they can close the roof if it gets too cold. But I got a feeling right now, all you guys got boners.
All these ladies get ass implants, I believe, but my God, her legs are incredible. I even like her clavicle. Like, goddamn, let me fuck your collarbone.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
Habanero.
That's a good one. Habanero. All right. I think we're going to all leave at the same time here. Any final words? I'll start with you, Dan, since you got to bolt the fastest.
Again, it just was great meeting everybody. It was just an awesome weekend. I'm not saying that to be sappy. Everything I'm saying is legitimate. And I dare I say that was better than the bowling alley from the year before. Maybe if you do a sequel next year, maybe you could do it. But then again, I don't know, because the Dan and the pissing, I don't know if she'll allow us to. But
I
missed all that, huh?
Yeah, you did. I told my wife, I couldn't help it, and she goes, "If I was here, I would have."
Like, what happened? Did it leave some stains on the front?
No, it was just she when she was waiting for her flight, she's looking through all the Ring videos, and then she spots that one, and then she spots Chris. No, I won't mention the name, but somebody was hitting on Heidi right at the front porch, and so she's watching this video of this pickup happening, and so I won't mention any names. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. It wasn't Dan Aguire.
It was not me. Unequivocally, it was not me. Not that I'm not disparaging Heidi, but I'm guilty in no way.
We love Steve Me, by the way, and you were not too negative. You just
I had my date for the night.
There you go. I'm a good squeeze, right? So anyways, Dan, any final words?
Yeah, Dan gave me another man beard kiss, which I really, really don't like. I would rather, it's fitting, maybe if we have another get together, maybe Mrs. Gandia won't let him come. so I don't have to sustain the beard kiss anymore.
Yeah,
I'm kidding, of course, but yeah, I love Dan. I like it. The whole thing was good, man. And
he messed up his truck too, driving around downtown somewhere.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
And Dan, did you guys do a show last night? You and
no, he was traveling. He said he wasn't going to get home till midnight. But not to put all my shit on air per se, but I still think he's mad at me for not riding that train. Like I said, I tried to get Chris to go to the dinner with us after the game, and I thought he could ride back with the Buffoons back to your place. And, Dan never answered me. I was like, God, he really is pissed at me over this train thing.
Did you guys go out to eat after the game?
Yes.
Yeah, where'd you guys go?
The
Elephant and
Castle?
Yes. Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Yeah, I've been there.
Very nice.
English
pub. But you didn't go with Mr. Shorty, did you?
No, I couldn't get him to answer. I was trying to get Chris, because Chris, had to get a ride back to your place. I thought, well, at the very least, I'm sure the Buffoons wouldn't mind him riding back with you, with them, and it would, take care of everybody. But, maybe I'm, projecting insecurity on it, but I thought he was mad at me, though.
No, it was Chris Watts who was projecting his vomit all over the train. That's what I heard.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. On the
Foster says that the other Dan is not too mad at you. He's not mad at you. He was too drunk and hungover the last 2 days.
Well, you could vouch for me on that. He had quite the presentation in your house.
Oh my gosh, it was just the silliest argument. Dan has made it clear, I don't want to fucking take the train. And the other Dan, Mr. Shorty, is just insistent. It doesn't make any sense. What are you afraid of? He's coming up with all these excuses. None of them made sense. And finally, I had to get up and I said, guys, I said in my invitation, the doors close at 10 p.m. It's 10:30. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, he thought I was afraid. I was like, I'm not afraid. Like, you got to be conscientious of your surroundings in any city. anywhere in the world. But my fear wasn't like, oh, Chicago is a hostile. My fear was getting lost because I don't know the city well. I was like, you grew up here, so you know where the stops are. And again, the Buffoons were like, no, we'd rather take the car too. So I'm like, well, and John said, not Santucci, but Buffon, well, it's settled. We're just taking the car. I said, okay, fine. He said, tell him I said it, that I made the decision because I didn't want to like disappoint him, but I didn't want to do it. And then when I told him that John said that, he said that Buffon was afraid of me. And that's when I said, Buffon's a fucking boxer. He's not afraid of me.
He's a trained professional boxer, and
he's not afraid of anybody.
Yeah, he's got the muscles the size of William Perry's ass. So, all right, Dad, get out of here. Go save some lives, brother.
All right, guys, be well.
All right,
thank you. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Then I hope
All right.
All righty. We'll be
I
here
will
for you.
back here next Tuesday, right? In costume.
Indeed.
See you all later. Then thank you.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Tooch, besides your goodbyes, your shout outs, I want your take on this World Series.
So Rangers and Diamondbacks. Look, the Diamondbacks got hot at the right time, and arguably so did the Rangers. Rangers have a great pitching staff. That lineup is really good. Diamondbacks have like arguably three really good starters. With Merrill Kelly and what's the other Zach Gallen and Brandon Pfaadt. And they're pretty good. Bullpen's a little suspect, although they played well recently. They just have been hitting well, the Diamondbacks. I thought the Phillies would probably win, but haven't been there last year against the Astros. But Rangers. I know someone said Rangers weren't that good of a team this year. They were a really good team this year, man. Really hit, man. One of the best hitters in the game is on the Rangers. Corey Seager plays a shortstop for the Rangers. Good player. And then they have, I think they got Aroldis Chapman at towards the end of the season to
trying to pull off the Cubs.
Bullpen. And then their starting pitcher Nathan Eovaldi's pitched really well. They have what's his name? Max Scherzer pitching Mad Max. He's had his ups and downs since he's come back from an injury. But guys on the Rangers were clubbing the ball too, man, recently. So I think it'll be a good a lot of hitting, man. So it should be exciting for the fans. But I think the Rangers have the upper hand as far as like talented on the roster. But Diamondbacks will give them a good run. I mean,
cool.
Diamondbacks are hot though.
Yeah. All right. So your money is on who?
If I had to bet it, I haven't bet it. I would have to look at it. If I had to bet it, Anthony had Diamondbacks to win the NL, so he's a happy man. He had both Diamondbacks or Phillies, so he won either way. But Diamondbacks was a little bit more money. They were longer odds. So,
and you're referring, of course, to Anthony, who is your co-host on Weekend Sports Betting Tips here on the Barroom Network.
Yep.
What's Anthony's last name again?
Inglese, Tony English, Aldo.
Tony English. Okay.
Anthony Inglese and Sean Higgs.
Sean Higgs.
Sean Higgs, half Italian too, mostly.
What's his nickname?
Three Italian guys talking with their hands.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, I don't know what Sean Higgs. I'll have to ask him what his nickname is. Some people just call him Higgs. Yeah, very funny. He's a New Jersey guy. Lives in Houston now. I'll have to get his thoughts Friday night. We had some people show up and take some betting advice and come back the next show and say thanks for the tip. I won.
That's what the show's all about, baby.
Yep. You have to get Mike North to pop in one episode.
I'll let him know.
Anthony is a big fan. But yeah, join us Friday. Tomorrow night, John Buffon show. The John Buffon show tomorrow night. And I love the 55 seconds of John Buffon. It's like one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite segments on any barroom show.
Yeah.
55 and 55.
Yeah, he does a great job with those. And prior to that, at 6 p.m., I think the Mac and Reed show, they're going to talk about this win against the Raiders.
I've been popping in on Mac and Reed the last few times. Just so happens I turned on and the guys were talking and stuff. Popped in the chat with them.
They got a nice like a smooth jazz kind of show. I like to do acid jazz.
What do you think about what I was talking about with the people hedging on Tyson Bagent? Are they trying to appear smart or something? Because they're really appearing dumb. They're like, we really found a good backup, Aldo.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that great? But that's not that's a compliment. It's not a diss.
I think that these guys are so jaded, that you could,
they're not at all jaded like us.
Not very true. Very true. But you're right. I think they are hedging their bets on Tyson Bagent, but we'll see. I'm really super looking forward to.
Like it's impossible for him to become an NFL starter.
And I think he looks the part. He sounds the part. He could be one of the great stories. He could be the Brock Purdy story of this season. He really could.
Like, Tom Brady wasn't a great athlete coming out.
That's right.
He could throw the ball. It was accurate, and he understood how to read the defense.
And Bagent can move in the pocket and run for yards. He proved that Sunday. So it's not like he's more athletic than Tom Brady. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah, no question.
Yeah,
yep.
No question. So it'll be interesting to see. You got are you leaning on a bet either way? Because the odds are like 9.5. I've seen in some books for the Chargers.
For the Chargers.
Yeah.
Man, it's tough to say. If it gets up, I think it was 8 when I looked last time. I didn't know it was 9.5. If it got up to 10.5, I have to think about taking the Bears. Vegas cleaned up this weekend. All the public lost their ass. They were like 0 and whatever. Like, so if you bet, you went. There's a good follow on Twitter. His name's John Ewing. He's like one of the guys that works at BetMGM. And he always posts like, hey, this is how much money's on the Lions, or this is how much money's on the Raiders. And Raiders like number 2. So Anthony and I was like, shit, we got to like fade the public here, and just like if the public has been getting their ass kicked this season, man. And man, there's been a ton of upsets. The 49ers have lost 2 games in a row. Wow. There were tons of people on the 49ers. I took the Vikings last time. I'm like, what the fuck do I have to lose? I was like, God damn. I was like, I ended up winning outright, if it gets up around 10.5, I have to. Yeah, I did. I had a Bears teaser going.
For our audio podcast, let people know what you're talking about. Somebody's asked you about teasing the Bears for something else. What do you think?
Yeah, so teaser, there's like a bunch of different kinds. If you go on, you sign up for a mobile sports app. Sports wagering app, and a teaser is basically like usually it's 2 teams, and you're gonna tease like the Bears were plus 2.5 against the Raiders, so you tease up the Bears up to 8.5, so it'd be Bears plus 8.5. So you give yourself a little bit of best, but you need a second team to tease with. Unfortunately, I had the Bills because they were 4-0 against the last 4-0 against the last 4 times against the Patriots. The Patriots end up winning that game,
Right.
My other choice, like, God, should I take the Patriots? Should I take the Bills against Patriots or the And I made the mistake of taking the road team, which is dumb. And then I should have taken the Seahawks, and giving them 6 extra points. So the Seahawks minus 1.5 and Bears plus 8.5, and that would have been a winner. But this weekend, if you took Bears plus 9.5, added 6 on top of that, the Chargers have to beat you by 17 points, basically 16, 17 points. So
David says he made some good money.
Yeah, there you go. See that I was like trying to decide between Seahawks and Bills. I should have known better because when Anthony and I were talking on the show, I was like, I don't think the Bills are really that good. I was like, here I go. So reading the thing, they're 4-0, last 4 again, and the Patriots aren't good either. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
The best team in that division is probably the Dolphins. And even they've lost the last game. Like I still can't believe the 49ers have lost 2 in a row. That's a really good team.
Yeah.
My boss is a huge Vikings fan, and he's like, I think the Vikings can win. He's like, And what? And then he was he's out on a work trip. I texted this morning the Skull Viking. I was like, I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an interesting conversation going on between Cliff and Zach in the chat room, and Zach is really pushing, for some more belief by people on Tyson Bagent. And hey, I'm not guaranteeing that Tyson Bagent is going to be a great quarterback, but I'm hoping that he is, and I think it's a realistic hope based on knowing his life story, based on listening to the guy, based on how his father has molded him to have this confidence in himself. And
his
how
father's hilarious, man. Did you see
he really
him
is a great guy. Yes.
Was a WFLD reporter.
Yeah.
It was so funny, man.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Warner wasn't drafted. Do you wonder what people thought about Kurt Warner when he was undrafted?
It's interesting because I listened to his audio interview this week, and Kurt said that he was on the bench in college, and finally when he got his opportunity, he played very well. And then when he went undrafted, and when he went to indoor arena, his teams went all the way to championship games 2 out of 3 years. He played very well there. So he said, I always had confidence in myself. It was just kind of circumstances that led to me not getting my chance with the NFL. The Green Bay Packers gave him a shot, and they dropped him.
Gave him a shot.
So,
you got to watch American Underdog, the Kurt Warner story with Zach Levine, I think is the actor. It's like the guy who plays Shazam. But it's a good movie, man. Kurt Warner was playing Arena League. There's a little bit of the story of the guy who's founded the Iowa Barnstormers in Des Moines, in that movie. So you have to see the crazy guy who thought of the idea to bring football into the arena. He wanted Des Moines to have a team, and there's a bit of that story in the movie. You got Iowa Barnstormers.
I got to check that out.
Their
by the way,
were awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember in fact, a lot of the uniforms in the indoor arena I really liked. But the uniforms I liked best were the Lingerie Football League. David pointed out that the 49ers don't play from behind very well. Let me throw a hypothesis at you.
Neither do the Bears.
That's right. Let me throw a hypothesis at you. Is it possible that NFL defensive coordinators have seen enough tape on Brock Purdy to know, all right, this is what he does well, this is what he doesn't do well, we can contain this quarterback? What do you think?
Absolutely, 100%. Yep. Yeah, they're look, you got to get pressure on him, pressure up the middle, make him roll out, and then if he's not getting, Deebo Samuel wasn't there last night. That's a big part of it. He takes those crossing routes, slants, that Brock Purdy can roll out and hit those, But he's not. Brock Purdy's a decent athlete. He's not the best scrambler, so he can be caught from behind by pressure, And then the guy that's hard to shut down for the 49ers is number 23. That dude makes plays out of nothing.
So he's unbelievable. Great trade.
He's just amazing. Balance, power, speed, and shiftiness. He'll get the dump off too. Then he also has Ayuk and Kittle to throw to, which has made his life a little easier. But I think they're finding out ways to contain Brock Purdy.
Very cool. All right, let's leave it there, guys. Final prediction for the Bears Chargers?
Man, I don't know. I think they can win it, but I really have no idea. What's the total on this game? I don't even know.
You're going to bet the over-under, maybe?
I'm going to say, I bet you the total's around 47-40. I have no idea. I'm just guessing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds like it should be right.
I would say 47 and a half. I don't have any things. So I'm going to say, I'll bet you it's like 24-23 Chargers, but we'll have a chance to win at the end, but it could go either way. It could be 24-23 Bears, very easily. because I
Yeah.
think San Diego has a good field goal kicker. Bears have a good field goal kicker. I think we'll probably we'll probably see some field goals this game, maybe 2 or 3 each from the guys. There's no Keenan Allen on the Chargers.
Yeah.
He's out. He's out.
Right.
They're arguably struggling at wide receiver. You know, you
Yes,
saw
they
it in the last game. I mean, I forgot who the Chargers just lost to.
It was the Cowboys, and
the
then
Cowboys.
no, they lost the game after that, didn't
lost the
they?
game
After the
after that,
Cowboys, because they've lost 2 in a row. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, I don't have it with me either.
I had it.
Does the chat have it?
Hold on. Steelers, right? No, that was the Rams.
The Rams play the Steelers. Yep.
Oh shit. Let's see. Yeah, they lost against. All right, so Cowboys and Chiefs. Those are the 2 teams that they've lost.
And they just
in the
played
last
the
few
Chiefs,
weeks.
right?
Right.
What was the
20-17 against the Cowboys at
Close
home,
game.
and then on the road, they got pummeled by the Chiefs, 31-17.
Right. It was close until the Chiefs opened it up a little bit on them. It is 46.5 is the total.
Okay.
So I'm right about there. 24-23. But I think I would take if I was I would probably take the Bears plus 8.5. I think the Bears can keep it close. Eckler, they haven't been able to run the ball with him this year either. But I think the Bears can contain the Chargers offense. And Justin Herbert can make plays though. He does have a big arm.
Yep.
But yeah, I would at this moment I would lean Bears plus 8.5. That's a lot of points in the NFL.
It sure is. It's a fascinating matchup, and I think that there could be some surprises. Hopefully, Eberflus will surprise us with some exotic blitzes.
Chargers are 2-4. Bears are 2-5.
Yeah, look at that.
We both have 2 wins.
Yeah. And as the guys said in the Media Mashup, that stadium is going to have more Bears fans in it than Chargers fans.
I hope so.
It really will happen. But trust me on that, because that's what happened. They cited, which game was it that they cited? They played who was it? Darn it! They played to start the season. They played the Dolphins, and there were more Dolphins fans at Los Angeles.
And that was a close
Chargers.
game too, I think.
Yeah, 36-34.
Yeah, it was a close game.
Yeah.
They have lost some close games until last week. But yeah, I mean, Keenan Allen is a huge part of that. That guy moves the chains, He's like their Travis Kelce. He's the guy that Justin Herbert looks for on third down.
Yeah.
So, it's me. They play tough defense on run. Yeah, they have a chance to win. I think 8.5 is too many points.
I have to agree with that. But we'll see. We'll see, and we'll be covering the game and a lot more football here on the Barroom Network. Best way to stay on top of stuff is to subscribe to the Barroom Network channel here on YouTube, and you will get alerts on your devices. And make sure you check out Tooch on Weekend Sports Betting Tips Friday afternoon. It's not just about betting. They have great stories. They have a lot of laughs. It's
Sean will make fun of Chicago food.
That's right.
I don't know what his problem is with Chicago food, but
I was just going to say that he must have gone to one bad restaurant, and now he's condemned all Chicago dining, which is one of the best restaurant towns in North America.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Food,
Absolutely.
One of the best food capitals.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.